There was a flag on the play. There was a penalty.
As your friend Chris Green would say. Oh, that's going to be a big tackle for a loss. This is a huge momentum swing for Durham now because PRiDE are way backed up.
It's a very good tackle there from number 32. I don't have his name on the roster. He might be wearing a different jersey number.
I think that's going to happen when you wear different jerseys, yeah.
Durham again, they're sending a blitz. Trying to shut down the PRiDE's run game.
Jeremy Benny back to throw. He's going to throw it into the end zone, and he almost had Cam Mills.
Very nearly.
The big 6'4" receiver.
Heard he runs a laser 4.5.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
That's just the rumor going around campus.
That's the rumor going around campus, yeah. Back when I was here, everybody ran a 4.5. Or so they said.
Well, I ran a 4.5.
I ran a 4.2.
Ran a 4.1.
Yeah. Would have played in the pros if it wasn't for your damn knee.
Oh, 100%.
Jeremy Benny's going to get a hand up to the left side. He's going to take it up the sideline. He's going to take it back to almost the original line of scrimmage. It's going to make it a tough call for Ben Herod if he's going to send in this kicker Lachlan Ryans, who's been pretty good this season, or if he's just going to stick with his philosophy and go for it in goal situations. It's not technically a goal situation because you can make a first down out of this. Looks like the offense is going to be out there. It's going to be 4th and I think 12 or 13 yards to go. Take a shot at the end zone, see if you can get a PI call. Is he under heavy pressure? He does a good job to evade the it's not going to be enough. On the plus side, though, Durham are going to be backed up in their own half. So that's another really good field position starter.
Looks like they're going to take the ball from the 7-yard line there. Again, deep in their own half.
I mean, if you make them drive 93 yards every time, I was like, the likelihood of them scoring, unless it's UE, of course, is very, very low. So you're going to take some positives out of this at least.
Yeah, I mean, any team that can drive the ball 93 yards in a series against this PRiDE defense is, you know, worthy of scoring, I'd say.
I mean, yeah, of course. I will say, when we played against Cardiff, the last game I called here, there was a very similar situation where the Cardiff defense stopped to PRiDE deep in their own half, and they didn't get it. And that ended up being an easy shutout. It was like the PRiDE lined up offside. I think this is going to be a free play. Unless the ref sees something that we didn't.
So Durham bringing the fullback there, leading the charge. Only picked up a couple of yards on the play, though.
Offside defense, I was right there. Number 41, I believe. Lined up in the neutral zone.
Yep. Cool.
Yep.
Good eye.
So you're only allowed 7 guys on the line. You have to have both tackles covered, or else it's legal formation. That means sometimes the receivers on one side or the other are going to line up off the ball, off the line of scrimmage. As a DB, as I'm sure you know, Danny, you have to be aware of that so you don't line up offside when you play press.
Yeah, I like to move around a lot pre-snap anyway.
Be aware of the line of scrimmage, of course, as I'm sure your coaches always say. You coach football as well, so I'm sure you say it to your players too.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's all about field awareness. Just being aware of the down markers, being aware of where you line up, being aware of, you know, personnel. There's a lot to it.
Durham aren't a very high-tempo team, so it looks like we've got a little bit of time. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do with the Renegades?
Yeah, so I coach the Renegades under-19s contact, as well as flag football for Big Kid. We go into schools all around South London, and we have our own cage league as well. So we've got, you know, plenty of kids from all different contact teams. And we just sort of, yeah, just get them ready for contact or flag, and so many opportunities these days.
D-Ball's got a receiver open and makes a good effort to try and catch it, but it's going to be incomplete.
Yeah, looks like number 2 again, trying to make up for that play. Looks like a bit of blown coverage as well, miscommunication in the defense.
Say, Isaac Nealon wishes he could have that one back because you don't get many easier plays than that against this PRiDE defense.
And that ball had some air time as well.
Certainly did. It was like he was fielding a punt. I don't know how they managed to let a receiver get that wide open down the back. Yeah, back to what you were saying about the Renegades and what you're coaching. That's really cool. We need grassroots. We need to get kids started in this game young if we're going to be competitive against the other teams in Europe.
Oh yeah, 100%. Especially with the success of the GB women's team. I mean, you know, we've got plenty of girls that are interested in the game, and now they've got something to look up to.
It's great. Max Denning, the PRiDE coach, he used to coach women's football in the US at a professional level. That was in Oregon. So I think if there's any coach in this country who's going to be good at improving the women's game overall, it's probably going to be Max Denning, if they can persuade him to move away from the PRiDE part-time.
Gonna have to hit him with a very tempting offer.
Might be something they can't afford, knowing Baffa. Another comment you're probably not going to make anything about.
No, I have to be careful what I say, especially since I've mentioned Big Kid and the Renegades. Yeah. I'll leave that up to you since you've stopped playing now.
Yeah, if I do play again, I guess it's going to have to be in another country, or your cage league maybe, if you'll have me.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of spots open.
Awesome.
The cage league, we have adults playing in it as well.
So it's flag football, right?
Yeah, that's flag football.
Okay.
So we get, you know, Warriors players, Blitz players, Olympians, just a lot of guys in so they can just up the level and, you know, make it a bit more competitive.
That's great. Ooh, it's heavy pressure. It's lucky to get that ball away. It looks like he was going to be sacked in the end zone, maybe for his safety if he would.
Yeah, he definitely had to get rid of that there. That was a definite safety.
He's lucky
if
there
he'd
was
have been pulled down.
It's lucky there was a receiver in the area, because, correct me if I'm wrong, and it's not the same rule as the NFL. If you commit a intentional grounding in the end zone, it's a safety. Is that the same rule in the NCAA? Or is
Yeah,
it? Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure on the intentional grounding rules, just because of the variety of calls, shall we say, that I've seen regarding intentional grounding. And
I mean, we've been around this game for a long time, you and me. You started back in 2012, was it? I started PRiDE back in 2014 and played 4 years in the NCAA. I'd never seen that called. I was like, I have seen it in the NFL multiple times, so I'm not sure if it was the same one.
And we've had a lot of rule changes in this country as well, especially around targeting and you know, these are the player safety rules.
These are the rule changes which I am definitely in favour of.
Oh yeah, because you're a receiver.
Player safety, yeah. I mean, if you've had a conversation with me before, I'm very much a traditionalist. I like old school 80s, 90s football. I don't like all these rules protecting the quarterback because I think some of them are unnecessary, but some of them, when it's a player safety, like targeting calls, you got and hits to the head, you got to cut that out.
Oh yeah, hits to the head, for sure.
Because we didn't know back in the 80s and 90s that was such a big deal, but now we do. There's no excuse really for it. Plenty of time to get that punt in the air. Looks like it's going to roll. They're just going to let it roll to about the 35. So another really short field for the PRiDE.
Not a very good punt there. He wasn't under any pressure, but I think he just rushed it.
You know something? I haven't seen that many good punts in BUCS at all. I don't know. You've probably covered this game more than I have. I've covered the PRiDE a lot, and the PRiDE's opponents don't punt the ball very well.
No, I think special teams are something that a lot of teams do sort of neglect, which I think is a big missing key, especially at, at this point, at this stage in the playoffs in the Prem. It's something you've really got to get down, because look at the field position they're in now.
Absolutely. Some coaches, Herod is not one of them, who say special teams is a third of the game. It's really not. It's more like 10% of it. AJ Carr's going to take it up for a big gain. He's going to get into the end zone.
He is shifty.
He certainly is. I don't know how they managed not to tackle him there. It wasn't as if he was running through a clean hole. No, it was like he was running straight through defenders.
It was very patient running, though. He read his blocks very well and ran behind them.
He certainly did. He's got great downfield vision, and that comes. He's played this game since 2008, I believe. I was on the same team as him when he was a kid.
Oh, wow.
That was back when he was 6. He was playing, I think he actually played when he was technically too young. He was playing when he was 6. I think the minimum age was 7. So if he gets in trouble for that, then, I'll pay his fine, whatever. Oh, there's going to be blocks, and AJ's might be able to take it into the end. He's not. He did that once before this season against East Anglia.
Yeah,
kick was blocked. He managed to pick it up and then take it into the end zone for a 2-point conversion, but, not this time.
He's a very high IQ football player, and that's such a key thing to have as well.
It certainly is, because he's not the biggest guy in the world, he's not the fastest guy in the world, but he just knows his game so well that he can dominate at this level.
Yeah, and that situational awareness thing is, you know, what we were talking about before. Just being able to make plays where you think the play is over, make something out of nothing. That's so crucial, and especially in, I'd say, BUCS as well, especially in BUCS, because of the experience difference that there is. You can come across guys that are super athletic but have no football experience at all, and you can get guys that are much smaller, like AJ, just run rings around them.
It makes all the difference in the world, it really does. And that's what, if I was a coach, that's exactly what I would look for. I'd look for high football IQ guys rather than the best athletes. If you can get both of them, but I'd rather have the best IQ, because they're the guys that are going to be able to make things happen off script. And to me, that makes a great football player.
100%, 100%. And now we see the PRiDE kickoff team back on the field again.
And Ryans kicks it off. It's going to be a return from about a 15-yard line. He's going to bring it out. The big special teams player, he's going to take it to the 40-yard line.
That's Dylan Willis again on the return there. Durham's running back.
Dylan Willis really their biggest weapon on offense besides the quarterback.
Haven't really seen him in open field action yet. The PRiDE's defense do seem to be slowing up on a lot of the runs, apart from the big opening run at the beginning. Not much urgency from the Durham Saints offense coming out of the huddle. Nice and calm.
No, I said before, they're not a very high-tempo team, are they? They just like to let the clock run down to 0, or 1 rather, and then snap the ball. Give their offense time to rest. And when you're playing against teams like the PRiDE, you really want a high tempo. You want to fatigue them. That's basically what Yui did. And then when I played for Dan Mayer, when he was the coach for the PRiDE, he was always on about, we want to get a play off every 15 seconds. We're going to get high tempo, fast tempo. We're going to wear out the defense. We're going to make them tired and fatigued, and they're going to make mistakes.
And that urgency isn't something you usually see in the UK, probably because of the inexperience level. Or sorry, rather the experience level.
For those of you just joining us, the score is 13-0 to the PRiDE right now.
Troops to the left, single back.
Another bubble screen just over the head of number 6.
It wasn't a bad pass. I mean, it was a little high.
It was a little high. I mean, ideally on a bubble screen, you don't want to be putting it there. You want to be putting it right on the numbers and make it a nice, easy catch. Yeah, but that was catchable. Strictly speaking, they say if you can get your hands on it, you get your fingers on it, you should be catching it.
Yeah, you don't want to, you especially don't want to high pass the bubble screen. He wasn't under any pressure either. There was no defensive ends rushing him. Just some early game jitters, it seems.
I think Newland, I think he's a very good athlete, but I've said this before, I don't think he's that good at throwing the ball. And maybe I've been spoiled by watching college quarterbacks and playing with college quarterbacks, but I haven't been overly impressed with him. I would stick with the RPO, the triple option, traditional college-style offense.
Interesting formation there from the Saints as well, as you see number 6 in a sort of, I'm not sure what you'd call that. He was
we
really
used to call it. We used to call it there when I played for PRiDE. Basically, you'd motion the receiver or running back there, and then you'd either have the option of handing off the dive as the quarterback, you'd have to scramble in, or pitching it to the running back on the outside.
Yeah, he was just very, very deep though.
I don't know if there's a reason for that exactly.
Well, we'll see if they try that play again. It doesn't look like going to.
Probably not the best idea to try it against a team as well coached as a PRiDE twice in a row. Or maybe that's the perfect double bluff.
There we go. We've got Tripp to the left again.
Same formation.
Maybe looking for the bubble screen.
Oh, he's going to roll out. He's going to get heavy pressure that time, and he's going to be sacked.
That's a huge
Eventually
loss.
got him.
That is a big play there from the PRiDE's defense. Looks like
Is
number 40.
Is that a flag from, or is it a glove?
I think it was a glove.
Yeah. Getting confused for a minute because I didn't see anything then. Excellent play from the PRiDE defense.
And now we have the, the field position again that we've been talking about. Durham forced the punt from their own 20. That'll be end of the first quarter as well.
End of the first quarter to score 13-0 to the PRiDE. Just switching ends and we'll be right back soon. So what do you make of that first quarter overall?
I mean, I'm very impressed by the PRiDE. They've come out firing again. I mean, it's just bread and butter football. We haven't seen anything exceptionally, you know, outlandish. It's just been typical PRiDE, really. It's early lead, very good field position, very good special teams, very good defense, and then just simple plays that they can execute on. What have you made of this so far?
Exactly the same as you. Just great field positions to start off with. Makes all the difference in the world. And obviously they've executed the play very well. AJ Carr, an exceptional play that we saw on that screen, taking it 22 yards to the house. AJ Carr, he's led the team in receptions, just going up to the UE game, which is all the stats I've got. Yeah, 21 receptions, 326 yards, 74 yards after the catch, and 5 touchdowns. He had a couple of touchdowns against UE as well.
I mean, if there's any player you want to bet money on to score, it's definitely him. Not that I'm encouraging that.
Don't think there's many bookmakers that take Britball.
No, there's not. I've looked.
And the man himself is going to take this back inside the 50-yard line. Oh, fumbles the ball. Looks as though Dom Donahue managed to scoop it up. Is that Dom Donahue? Number 13? No, that's Kevin Lewis.
Good play there by Francesco Home of the Durham Saints, number 40.
Have the PRiDE had a drive which has started in their own half this game?
No, they haven't, actually.
Interesting. Some food for thought.
Now it looks like they're going to start from around the 32-yard line.
Benzie from the gun. Oh, he managed to connect on that one. I was watching that all the way, ready to say that's underthrown.
I mean, that looked like
great
a
catch by Ken Mills. Yep, certainly was. He had all day to throw. Exceptional job from the PRiDE offensive line. Great blocking, gave him all day to throw. That's exactly what you need to do to beat this defense.
Looked like he just threw it right over the safety's head there. Safety's got to be much more aware than that if he's going to...
Safety, you can't let anybody get deeper than you.
No, it looked like he was just ball watching there.
PRiDE going to go for 2 since the score was 13. Make it a nice and even 21-0. And they've got it. Cam Mills again.
Head top.
Couple of plays to add to his highlight reel right there.
Yeah, we've seen him make a few plays like that, just grabbing balls over the DB's head.
I mean, he's a big guy. He played for GB. He was a captain for GB under 19s, I believe. He's listed at 6'1", 220 pounds.
That is a big receiver.
Certainly is. I mean, that's the weight you get some tight ends.
Yeah, I mean, especially in this country, you don't really find that many, you know, top-level receivers that are over 200 pounds.
He's got the stats. He's built like a good athlete. And if you ever speak to him, that's all muscle as well.
And don't forget, he does run a 4.5.
Allegedly, yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
We'll confirm those stats.
Nick Saban should be on the phone to him.
So you had a fairly long stint at PRiDE. How's the program changed since you've been here?
So when I first got here, obviously the first things you notice is back when I started, we were on the field behind us rather than this state-of-the-art facility that we got now. That made all the difference in the world. I think the biggest difference as well as far as the game is concerned, we've got a lot more technology. So having all the practices filmed these days, you can go in and you can watch film. You can improve in that regard. That's made a huge difference because when I was here, we didn't have that many film sessions where we come in and look at what we did until my last year probably, when we were able to go up in the classrooms and we got everything filmed. And being able to correct what make corrections and look at what you're doing wrong. As much as you might think, oh, that's embarrassing, all the team seeing me make those mistakes, and you're able to correct them.
Oh, 100%. I mean, practice film is such a crucial part of the game that I think gets neglected as well. I mean, game tape is great and fantastic, don't get me wrong, but...
Practice tape as well. You need to be recording it and looking over it.
because by the time you've got to the game, it's too late.
Yep. Durham's going to get a decent return here. If you're going to give a tackle there, it'd be to Miles' butt. But it looks as though he was going to the ground anyway.
Looks like Robbie Goodall on the return again. Not a bad return, reading his blocks quite well. Not the most athletic guy, in comparison to other returners that we've seen in these games. But still, making those yards count.
Kind of like the Wish.com version of AJ. As in, he did a very good job of reading the blocks.
100%, 100%. Coming out a little bit more urgency from the huddle now.
There's plenty of opportunities for hitches here if they decide to run them, because the PRiDE DBs lined up about 10 yards off the line. If they can get a quick snap, 5-yard hitch, hook up, and
even just
take
hitting
the 5 yards.
Even just hitting these flats again. I think that's what you were doing quite well with the outside runs and hitting those flats.
I think when they're giving you 10 yards of separation, surely you got to do something to take advantage of it. It's not as if it's a 3rd and long situation. You can take the 5 yards. Not going to get that opportunity this time by the looks of it. No, they are.
Looks like a cover 3.
Ho-ho! Nice hurdle that time. I don't know how many of you remember Ezekiel Elliott doing that in his rookie year against the Bears, but that's what that reminded me of.
That was Isaac Newland there, the quarterback. As we've said before, he's got a good set of legs on him. He can run the ball. And we just said outside runs and hit those flats.
Absolutely. I don't know if that was the design play or if he saw that before the snap and was like, there's a lot of space there. I think I can make something happen with it.
Maybe
he managed to get the first down, managed to get one for his highlight reel.
That one's for the gram.
Certainly is. If that one isn't for the gram, I don't know what is. Nice draw play up the middle there. Good blocking from the offensive line.
Very good, confident running there from Dylan Willis. Just no nonsense, cover the ball, straight through the A-gap.
Put your shoulder down.
That's it, just simple football. Simple and effective.
Old school 80s power football.
Matt Wilson in as an H-back.
And the Saints are in the PRiDE's half of the field for the first time today, I believe.
Looks like the same play again. It worked before. Why not try it again? And it looks like the sticks are moving.
They should be.
Yep, that will be a first down. So
officials are a little bit slow to move the chains. We're going to have to wait for them before we get the ball play alive, and they've done it. Okay. Timeout defense. Some good momentum going on this drive for Durham. You think if they got any chance of getting back in this game, it's got to be on this drive whilst they've got something going for them.
Yeah, I think most of their yards are going to come now from these simple run plays and as well hitting those flats, getting those outside runs, just getting a few yards every play.
My old coach in college used to say you can't go broke taking a profit.
100%.
Yep. You know, take what you can get from the defense. If they're giving you little flat routes, it might not look particularly impressive on the highlight reel when you're putting them on, but you know what? You're getting the yards. Speaking
of college, you played at Iowa, correct?
I did play in Iowa, yeah.
So what was that like, moving from the UK and obviously playing against, this level of opposition? How was that jump?
The level of football was, I think, if I played for any other team in the UK besides the PRiDE, I would have found it very, very tough. But basically, it was the same schedule kind of thing. We did these guys don't do full camp anymore, but we did. We did 2 weeks. We got weekends off. You didn't get that in America. But yeah, the schedule was pretty much the same. They drill it in. You need to go to class. You need to get good grades. You need to, they say sit in the front row. You don't have to. You just have to pay attention in class, have a good relationship with your teachers, and then be the hardest working guy in the weight room, eat the right food. It's all that kind of stuff. And I already knew it because I played for PRiDE, and that's exactly what they teach you in this program.
Yeah, I was going to ask how PRiDE helped prepare you for that student-athlete lifestyle, but I suppose when you're here, you are living that student-athlete lifestyle.
Yeah, you are. It's a little bit different in America as far as nutrition is concerned. That's the biggest one, because in America you do get, or we got, I think it's the same at most colleges, you get unlimited food 3 times a day, as much as you want to eat. That's included in your room and board payments. At PRiDE, obviously, it's a little bit more different. It's like the typical British student experience, isn't it? Where, you know, moving away from home for the first time, and then you got to learn how to cook. You got to learn what food to buy, and then sometimes you've not got a lot of money, so you think, oh, I'm gonna have to budget and not eat as much, and that has a big effect on the athletics, I think. So it was a lot better in America. You could put on a lot more weight, and good muscle, make more gains. It's a lot easier in the US.
Yeah, I remember the days of tuna pasta and Tesco meal deals.
Yeah. I mean, at the time, I was like, I just got on with it. But looking back on it now, I'm just like, how on earth did I survive? I think my first year here, I weighed about 171 pounds, which really isn't a lot. And I had muscle because I worked out a lot, but I wasn't anywhere near as strong as I was when I moved to the US.
Yeah, I suppose that American food with that calorie-dense American food helped you bulked up to tight end.
Certainly did. We were eating the right foods, though. We had a strength and conditioning coach who always educated us on what foods we need to be eating. And he was like, I'll talk to the lunch ladies, and if I see you eating cheeseburgers, like, you got to run laps.
That is very good. That is very good to have around.
So, yeah, lots of salad, lots of good proteins and carbs. Just what you need, every growing boy needs. Oh, another nice run. He might be gone to the end zone now.
He's got one man to beat.
He's in. The Durham Saints are right back in this one. If you thought this was over before halftime, then you're sadly mistaken.
We have a football game.
Certainly is. Going to make it 21-6, pending the extra point, which I assume will be a routine field goal.
That's Isaac Newland there on the touchdown, the quarterback.
Of course, making a big play with his legs, as we've referenced many times in this game.
And again,
that's his strength.
Yep. It looked like a lot. I can't count how many. I think it was the tight end, the fullback, the running back, all running left, hitting that flat, clearing the path for him, and he just read his blocks very well. Kept running, broke a few tackles.
This is a pretty good football team, you know, Durham. I was like, you can look at their record. They finished 3-5 in the regular season. It's a losing record. You look at that, it's like, oh, that's not impressive. But the teams they won against, they were blowing them out, and they had some very, very close games. Like the Newcastle game was only 16-14. That was a very tough, well-fought game.
Yeah, and that was avenging their 13-28 defeat in week 4, I think. So I think they were definitely coming with some vengeance in that game.
Yeah, I believe it was. You weren't on the call for that game by any chance, were you?
No, unfortunately I wasn't. Haven't been
that should have been blocked.
Oh, you got.
He was in a position to block there, but he's going to get it anyway. Still a long way to go. They got a big mountain to climb up if they're going to win this game. 21-7 in favor of the PRiDE. It looks as though, unless AJ gets a big return, that the PRiDE will have to start in their half for the first time.
Well, here again, we're going to see, you know, we're in the second quarter now, coming up to halftime. It's going to be that field position here that dictates how the rest of this half goes. Special teams are often sort of looked over, glossed over, but in a game like this, you can't afford to do that. You can't afford to, you know, give up on any play.
You're absolutely right. If you can make it easy for your offense, then you got to take that opportunity. Ben Herod there on the sidelines, shouting something to the officials. Or to his players, rather.
Yeah, I was going to say the official doesn't seem too interested. But
yeah.
There he is, coordinating his kick return team. AJ Carr is back to return.
When I was here, I don't know if this has changed much, but we didn't really do loads of special team stuff. It was more like on the week of a game, obviously we didn't have games as regularly. Everybody who was on special teams would come about 20 minutes early and stay 20 minutes late after practice to practice it. So he really wasn't one of those coaches who believed that, oh, special teams is a third of the game. He's like, well, you just need to execute it, and then it's really only 10% of the game.
As long as you understand your assignments, you know your role, and you can execute them effectively, that's the main thing that counts here. Picking up those blocks, and as a returner, being able to read those blocks and know where you're going.
The same's true on the kicking game as well. Hopefully you only have to kick well, you should be kicking a lot. if you're the Bristol Pride. Kick return game, I was going to say, hopefully you don't need to actually go out there that often.
Yeah.
Remember, I was on kick return. I was on the front line back when I played for PRiDE. And there was some games where we'd blow teams out. They'd only score. They wouldn't even score it. It'd be a shutout. And that's going to be a very good return by AJ Carr. He's got a chance to take this deep into Durham Saint territory.
Looks like the 30-yard line there. No flags on the play.
Yeah, I was going to say I played front line for PRiDE, and there's sometimes I only need to go out there once a game, and that's for the second half kick return. That's how dominant the PRiDE defense has been historically.
That's always a nice position to be in as well, only being called out once for special teams.
There is a flag on the play.
Oh, there is.
Holding against the return team. I don't know if you've noticed this from your time covering it, but when there's a flag on a kick return, it's almost always against the return team.
And it's almost always holding as well, or some kind of blocking in the back.
That's because it's very, very tough to block on kick return. You think sometimes if your guy beats you, then you're better off just, like you said before about the pass interference, sometimes you're better off just holding and hoping that your guy, the refs miss it, so that your guy doesn't get lit up.
Yeah, there's no live replays in this, so you know it's a risk to take, but it's one you've got to take every now and then.
It's a very tough position to be in, because obviously the kick return guys, they've got a big head start running at you. Do you feel bad for AJ's stat line? Because he had a big kick return against Cardiff on the first play of the game. He returned it for a touchdown. That got called back for holding. He had another touchdown called back on a flag as well. So his stats should be actually a lot more impressive than they actually are.
But at least he can add him to his highlight reel.
Yeah, of course he can. If you got the film. I don't know if this has changed. Ovi's going to get a good 20 yards there.
Very good running there up the sideline.
Very good running. It's going to be about a 25-yard gain for the PRiDE.
Easy first down as well.
Nice and easy. It's going to take them almost back to where AJ returned the kick pending this penalty.
PRiDE don't spend much time in their own half when they've got the ball.
Certainly don't. That's a big reason why they've won so much.
Looks like number 40's just talked to the ref there. He was kicking motion. It's a holding call there on AJ Carr.
Can't make any comment on that because I didn't see it. But now the PRiDE are in unfamiliar territory, back in their own half. Cannonball ball off to Ovi. Again, that's a fumble.
It looks like he tried to pass it back there. He got wrapped up and tried to dump the ball off.
You should not be lateraling in that situation.
Absolutely not.
That's a very, very dangerous play. I think Adrian might have been able to land on it and recover it.
That might be a loss of yards now.
Oh, of course, it's a loss of yards. It's whether they got the ball or not. Yeah, they're going to call it PRiDE ball. It's going to be third and looks about 13.
Durham defensive backs looking like they're in cover 3 now. Anticipating that deep pass.
Going to go with the draw play.
Big stop.
I would have expected Herod to call a pass play there and just try and air it out. You know, they got 3 in the secondary. It's tough to beat a cover 3 when you're going deep. But Dan Mayer, the UE coach, back when he was the offensive coordinator for the PRiDE, he had the philosophy, or how do you beat a cover 3 if they've got 3 safeties back there? You send 4 deep.
Oh yeah, 100%. Because then that's a very difficult call for the middle safety to make.
One of them should be open if the quarterback makes the right read.
Mathematically,
you would, yeah. In theory, it doesn't always work like that because.
And today, now we see the PRiDE punt team for the first time today. Rare sighting.
Bastian Roplet, the punter, I believe. Oh, that's going to be blocked. And now there's a huge swing of momentum. Because what was just a few short minutes ago, a 21-0 ball game to the PRiDE, looking like it was going to be an easy win, is now pending an extra point, 21-14.
That's Matt Wilson there with the touchdown.
That's, of course, assuming that they're going to get the extra point. Matt Wilson with a touchdown, great. But I did say earlier in this game I would expect to see a blocked punt. I was pretty confident it was going to be the PRiDE blocking the punt because I talked about the long snapper for the Saints not having that much. See, it's 21-13. Extra point coming up.
Huge special teams play there, and obviously we've been talking about the importance of special teams here. And there, that just proves it. I think Matt Wilson was obviously one of the players we were here to watch. He's the long snapper as well, wide receiver and defensive back. Big body as well.
I think the biggest thing you can take from that drive is not that blocked punt return for a touchdown, it's penalties. You look at penalties, starting with the kick return. If you didn't have that holding call, then AJ probably goes up the sideline, takes it to the 30-yard line. That's a nice and easy 30-yard drive. I'm not saying there's a 100% chance that they would have got a touchdown there, but there's a very, very good chance they do. I think they convert on something like 75 to 80% of their red zone opportunities. He had that, and even then, he had that big run from Ovi, which got called back for a holding. If you take away one of those penalties, then it's a completely different situation because they're not punting at all. They're either going for it on 4th down,
yeah,
maybe kicking a field goal if it's very long yardage.
100%. Not to take anything away from Durham, but, you know.
Yeah, it was a great play from Durham. Nobody's going to take that away from them, but I'm just saying,
yeah,
penalty. It's been the same all season as well. They've had a lot of plays, really big plays, called back because of penalties. And these are against teams that they're beating easily by 40-plus points. 21-14 now is the score. 7-point ball game. But yeah, it's like these penalties, big plays against teams which they're blowing out of the water by 40 to 60 points. When you get to the playoffs, and I said this when I was commentating against when they were playing East Anglia, you make plays like that in the playoffs and they're called back because of holding penalties or some other stupid penalty like taunting, then it could make all the difference.
And it's definitely cost the PRiDE here. I mean, we saw a huge kick return followed by, shortly after, a very big 25-yard run up the sideline. Both of them called back for penalties, and, you know, Durham held their own. We saw number 40, Francesco, home there with a big tackle, and then eventually a big block and return there by Matt Wilson.
I suppose the good news is here, PRiDE are going to get the ball back. They're not going to have to go on defense like it would be if they had a safety against them. No. So AJ's got another opportunity, a very, very talented kick returner, as we said, to take this into their half, and then they can right the wrong.
And you do want to keep your defense fresh. You want to keep them off the field for as long as possible.
Yep. I suppose that's the one bad thing about a defensive score or a special team score, is it doesn't give you defense time to rest. No. And although the momentum goes heavily in your favor from a big play like that, you're still fatiguing.
No, and having possession of the ball, obviously, you know, you can dictate the momentum of the game.
We kind of saw that in the Super Bowl, didn't we? I don't know if you remember. You watched. I assume you watched it.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
So the Chiefs strip sacked Jalen Hurts and they ran it back for a touchdown. And the momentum was heavily in the Chiefs' favor then. But because the Chiefs' defense was on the field for so long, they just got fatigued. They got really tired of that run game and having to stop Jalen Hurts and stopping the Eagles' running game. And it's the same at every level. It just goes to show. Biggest stage in the world.
I mean,
defense got fatigued because they were on the field for so long.
I mean, football is football, and look at this Durham team as well. You've got a dual threat quarterback there, so, you know, you could even be even more tired running after him all game.
Hand the ball off to Jeremy Benny on an outside run play. He's going to pick up about 6 yards there. Going to make it 2nd down and 4.
Good downfield blocking there as well from the offensive line. Big number 61 there. Just doing well to set that edge. And
61, Cam Dwyer to tackle. 6'4", 320 pounds he's listed at.
I want to say he's got an offer from somewhere as well. I think he's signed for somewhere.
He might have done. I have to check that. Oh, that's the post play we saw earlier, connected to Cam Mills again. He's going to take this one into the end zone for a touchdown, and there's your momentum back, folks.
There you have it. Cam Mills again on that post route, making it look easy. It was almost jogging there.
It almost felt like a punt. The hang time on that was ridiculous. It wasn't exactly a bullet. You know, just throw up a nice, easy pass for him to catch. Let this 6'1", runs a 4.5, allegedly. Let him catch that post route and then take it into the end zone.
But I think with when you got a player like that, a receiver like that, you haven't really got to dart it at. You can just put it up, and you know, we've
that's the
seen
way
time
to
and
do it,
time
isn't
again.
it? Yeah.
We've seen time and time again. He can just pick these out of the air with ease.
I sometimes get nervous when I see a quarterback throw a ball with hang time like that because it gives the DB an opportunity to make a play on the ball. But when you got a receiver who's tall like that, that's going to be offside by the looks of it.
As well with the hang time though, when you play DB, you have a lot of time while that ball's in the air to overthink the play and then mistime the jump. Or as we've seen, the safety get. Oh, that's a full start on the offense. Good. Or as a safety, you know, you can get caught ball watching because when that ball's in the air for so long, you're just wondering.
It is a lot tougher than it looks, isn't it? It's a time you jump. So when the ball's in the air like that, you think, okay, I've got to time my jump just so I get it at the highest point. Because if you mistime it, you go too early, then you're coming down as the ball's still in the air, and the receiver can make a much easier play on the ball. I'm sure we've all been in that situation before.
Yep.
He's going to throw it into the end zone. Same play as they converted on the last 2-point conversion. It's not going to be good this time. They did have an extra 5 yards to play with.
I thought there was a potential offside by the defensive end. Looked like he stepped a little bit too early.
I was going to say, actually.
And I think Cam Mills is looking for a PI call there. The defensive back was very handsy.
To be honest, I don't think I would call that just going off live. I would have to see a replay of that to make any judgment on it. It didn't look like there was a whole lot wrong with that.
But that's what you've got to take those risks as a defensive back, especially when you're getting such an experienced and talented receiver. He can make plays. You know, we've seen it time and time again where he can just make plays out of nothing. And I think he might be getting into the corner's head. We'll see how that develops.
I think now might be a good time to run a post corner style route. I don't know if Anthony Fitzpatrick has that in his playbook. But, you know, he's gotten so concerned about that post route. He's like, oh, he's going to get me on that post route again, that he might decide he's going to jump inside and cut it off early. That might be a really good opportunity to run a post corner and get wide open down the sideline. And
I wouldn't be surprised if we do see that. I think, you know, with the amount of time these guys spend together, they've got a good enough relationship where he can just say, look, give me the post corner on this play. Yep.
That's when the speed and aggressiveness is needed from a kick returner. He's very patient. He follows his block. I think he has good football IQ, but you know, just doesn't have the athleticism to avoid those tackles.
Yeah, that's Robbie Goodall again. He seems to be taking a lot of these kick returns. Not having much luck so far, though.
Getting it past the 20 where it would be if you just let it go out for a touchback, so it's not terrible.
I mean, he looked like he picked it up pretty close to the sideline. I might have just taken a chance there and see if the ball went out of bounds.
Maybe that's a football IQ thing. Maybe you didn't realise that you get the ball at the 40-yard line. A lot of space to the right side. So we wrapped up for a minimum gain right there.
41 really wanted that ball. That's what you like to see from a defensive player.
Christopher Ballion, I believe. I do apologise if I get some of the names wrong on this because the PRiDE, as I'm sure you've all noticed by now, wearing a blue jerseys rather than usual white ones. Some numbers have changed as a result.
Durham just patiently coming out from that huddle again.
Giving the defense plenty of time to rest, which might not be in their best interest, really. But, you know, if that's what you coach to do, that's what you're used to, you're going to stick at it. It's a very noticeable difference in tempo between the two teams' offenses. He's going to use his legs to scramble out. He's going to make something out of nothing. Gets a big first down right there. Picks up about 10. Good pressure from the PRiDE, really. Just good awareness from the quarterback.
Yeah, that was a very good play to make something out of nothing there. Again, he attacked that outside. He attacked that flat with the outside run. He saw his lane. He picked up an easy first down. But, you know, there's no urgency on this Saints offense, so they are giving the defense plenty of time to recover. And, you know, when you're running after a QB like, running after a QB like that, you do often get quite tired.
It's a lot harder than going after a running back because you got no idea because you can't follow the offensive line's blocks.
Yeah, it's like accounting for
like,
2 running backs.
Yeah. I think when the running back gets the ball, you can kind of tell where it's going, even if you can't see him, because you can see the offensive line opening up holes or trying to open up holes, unless it's a counter play, obviously. Whereas the quarterback, it's all very much off script, so you don't know where he's going to go, what he's doing.
No, and it can be a nightmare for defenses.
Especially DBs in your situation, if you've got your eyes on the receiver, making sure that he doesn't get anywhere, and then all of a sudden, your teammates and your sidelines shout, run.
Yeah.
And you got to go after him, you turn it around, like, oh, where is he?
Yeah, I mean, playing against the Aztecs last year, they had Yui's quarterback. I forget his name, but he was just always just running around, staying open. And, you know, as a free safety, I was covering, you know, multiple guys in and out of my zone, and he still got the ball for like 15 seconds. And then the next thing you know, he's throwing it over your head to a post route to Chris Green.
Yeah. Yeah, Aztecs do have a very good hit. Gavin Lewis on the hit, I believe, to break it loose.
That is something I love to see. I do love to see those screenplays broken up by a big defensive play there.
When you take too long to throw those passes, that's what's going to happen against a team this good. Gavin Lewis, one of the better players on this team, was my choice for MVP against East Anglia. Going into the UE game, had 17 tackles, 7 tackles for a loss, 1 quarterback hurry and a fumble recovery. Another big play to add to his highlight reel right there.
That's a great read as well, and a great play to make from the linebacker position to get out into the flat and make the tackle before the receiver can pick up any yards whatsoever. I think he was unaccounted for in that blocking scheme as well.
It's a receiver's worst nightmare, though.
Yeah, he's not going to want to catch another one of those again.
If he does, he better be hoping that the quarterback gets rid of that sooner. See that flat play that we saw early on? Completes the pass, is going to get to about the 44-yard line.
Yeah, it looks like a quick, you know, 5 and out there, able to pick up a few extra yards after the catch.
Take what the defense gives you.
Anticipating Durham to attack that flat again. Seems like they're keying on that now. But it is going to be 3rd and 7. They might need a little bit something extra from this play.
Closing in on halftime, the Durham Saints really hope that they can get some points on the board because the score right now is 27-14. If you can make it 7, then... Oh, that's a fumble, recovers it.
Quick hands there.
If you can get 7 points on the board on this drive, then that's going to make it less than a touchdown in difference.
It was good running there from Isaac Newland, but it is going to bring up 4th and 1. So interesting decision now for Durham Saints.
Even knowing how much time's left in this game.
But it looks like their offense is going to stay on the field.
I would in this 4th and short situation. Because, you know, if you don't get it, then it's better field position than the PRiDE usually get anyway. So
yeah, and do you really want to gamble on AJ Carr's return and your punt team being able to cover that?
Yeah. Another reference to the Super Bowl is like when the Eagles had 4th and 1 late in the game, late in the 4th quarter, they decided to punt and they got that big return, set them up with a 10-yard field to work with. Really made the difference in the entire game.
I mean, yeah, and you saw Philadelphia coming out with that, you know, that sort of power rugby-style scrum play on those, you know, 3rd and 1s or those 1-yard situations there.
Yep.
We've seen UE with it with their power formation. They get their big offensive unit out, big fullbacks in, and just drive the ball forward with no nonsense. It looks like it is 1st down, though.
Gonna give him a 1st down. Just ignore everything we said. But yeah, those 4th and 1 situations at the Eagles, that's a lot tougher to execute than you might think. Because we tried that back when I played for PRiDE. Doesn't always work.
And it's tough to do that time and time again.
Certainly is. They perfected that skill to a T. I'll give them that. PJ Hudson with the tackle. Good awareness, good read. Takes a great angle. We're going to make a tackle for a loss. I think these bubble screens might be out of the question now because that's twice that they've got nothing out of it. They've actually lost yards.
That was Eden Palmer there on the reception with absolutely nowhere to go this time.
That's -3 yards on the reception.
Very good coverage. See
just great awareness overall, I think. Just knowing.
Yeah.
I mean, they're giving you enough bubble screens to know that that's a very likely possibility, but just taking a great angle.
Also, the way they came down on the ball carrier, just great angles and
oh, that's a good play. Completed. It's about time they made one of those plays. I was going to say early on, it might be time to fake it to the bubble screen and then throw a ball deep. That's exactly what they did there. I thought it might have been underthrown rather. It's great adjustment by number 17.
No, they just caught the DBs sleeping there. I think they haven't really thrown it deep all game, so they just weren't anticipating it.
Perfect time for it. It's going to be a timeout by the PRiDE.
That is a well-called timeout as Durham seemed to be hurrying up there and using that momentum to power forward.
For the first time all game, really catching him off guard.
Yeah, absolutely. It looked like they were trying to take the opportunity again to catch him off guard.
I will say that is one good thing about having a slow tempo offense, because when you come out in no huddle, they're not expecting it in the slightest.
And that's just when you got to stay switched on and stay alert.
Yep.
That's where that experience comes in.
It's easier said than done sometimes, though. If you're in a game like this, you're getting tired. You're just getting used. You feel as though you know exactly what's going to come next. You can't get complacent. It's tough to stay focused sometimes. Yeah,
you get used to the tempo that they play at, and then when they switch it up, you're just not expecting it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one good thing that's going to come out of this. I will say I do still prefer to play every 15 seconds kind of tempo, just wear the defense down.
Yeah, and it just helps keep that momentum and just cuts out that time that you could be spending overthinking the play or just, again, letting that defense recover.
Max Denny sending his team out.
That big defensive line coming out as well for the PRiDE.
Heavy set, goal line package. The goal-to-go situations, they got 7 yards to go. They really want to punch this in and make it a close game going into halftime, because that'll give them so much momentum. Play to the outside. It looks as though he's going to get a touchdown out of it. He might have gone. He's going to give him the touchdown. I was going to say he might have gone out of bounds. We can't really tell from the angle that we're at. Another great play from Newland.
Very similar play to the one we saw before with this touchdown, where they just sort of powered left and just beat the PRiDE guys to the outside. It looks like the safety had a very difficult angle there, because obviously you don't want to line up too deep in the end zone, but lining up that close, it's hard to make that angle to the pylon.
It certainly is. It's a much more difficult play to make than you might think. I am impressed. I think the Durham offense especially, they've done a lot better than I thought they were going to. I did say at the start of this game, I think PRiDE should win by about 24 points, because I didn't really have much faith in this Durham offense. I know they got a few good athletes in there, but I didn't think they'd be able to get past this very, very smart defense as well as they have been.
But they've done their homework, and now we're all tied up.
Certainly have. Other than Yui, I don't think the PRiDE have played against a team which is this smart, this well-conditioned.
No,
Score is 27-21.
I spoke to the Durham head coach, Danny Ketch, before the game, and they're not looking past this game by any means. This is a huge test for them, but they really do want another shot at Nottingham Gold, who have been division champs for a while, and they beat them twice in the regular season, and they don't feel like that they gave it their all in those games, and they want another shot.
Third time's a charm. If they can get past this very tough PRiDE team, this is a tough place to come in and play against them. Even for Yui, it was a tough environment to play in.
I mean, it's a long way from Durham as well. It's a long journey to make.
It certainly is. Do you know how far the bus journey is?
I don't, but I think it's quite far.
It's quite far. They're northeast kind of region, isn't it? So
yeah, I don't think they're far from Newcastle. My geography's not great, but it's a long way.
That's a good 5 or 6 hours driving.
I mean, if I were Durham, I'd be coming up the night before. I'm not sure what they did, but I'd definitely be coming up at least the night before.
I definitely would. I did see the Durham bus outside SGS this afternoon.
Well,
I didn't think to stop and ask the driver.
Well, I hope they got comfy seats.
Didn't look too bad to me.
It's a long old journey.
Stop off at a few service stations, get a bag of Skittles. Classic Britball stuff.
Oh yeah, McDonald's breakfast.
Nice and healthy. Ooh, Mills has still got the ball here. He'll take it to inside the Durham half. 49 yards to go to the end zone. I think if you're the PRiDE, you got to fancy your chances of getting some points on this drive.
Oh yeah, 100%. He's brought down by Eden Palmer in the end, who's a big playmaker for the Durham Saints. But I think in this situation, this close to halftime, you're tied up. You don't really want to go, as Bristol PRiDE, as the home team, as the favourites, you don't want to go in tied up.
Now the ball up to Ovi down the sideline. These stretch plays still working quite well for the PRiDE, getting decent chunks, 7 and 8 yards every time they hand the ball off. Can't go wrong if you keep doing that.
That was a good 9 yards he's picked up there and steps out of bounds to stop that clock. Or not. I think he's called the half-time.
I think he has called half-time.
Okay. Ben Herod doesn't seem too happy about that.
No, I don't think he should be, because I mean, he should be happy about it because he looks as though he clearly stepped out of bounds to me. We don't have a running clock, so I can't make a comment for sure, but unless the clock kicks 0. Oh.
Well, BAFA refs are never wrong.
No, of course not.
And that's half-time now. We'll be back very shortly with the rest of the coverage of this game. We'll see you soon.
Count up those UCAS points. 1, 2, 3. Woo!
Nils, are you using the green bag?
I assumed the players already had it.
Yeah, it was in my office. He thought you were using it,
Yeah,
Craig.
to be fair, their game started at 4.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take it back to Craig.
Perfect. You've got it now, have you?
Yeah, Craig's going to bring it back.
Brilliant.
And then I'll take it back to the players.
Brilliant.
Not in the right way as well. No. But there's the receiver, the massive receiver.
Yeah.
He's ripped. Oh, fine. Long distance. I think 86. Near the end. He's a big lad. See him?
Yes. Yeah.
He is, but he's massive. So Fitzy seems to be barking all the orders.
Yeah. Brilliant. I love it. When we have problems with the
Good, Durham.
Yeah, I knew it was HE, so
We are muted.
Welcome back, everybody. I'd just like to apologise for the first 15 minutes of this broadcast. We had some technical difficulties, but we've got it all fixed now. I'm really happy to have you all along. I'm joined here by Danny. How's it going, Danny?
Yeah, it's good, man. We got a football game here.
Certainly do. The score is currently 27-21 in favour of the Bristol PRiDE. It looked like it was going to be a much more one-sided game than that early on. I think the score was 21-0 at one point, and then Durham came back. They responded exceptionally well. They got a couple of touchdowns in there, made it 21-14 at one point. And then the PRiDE got a big touchdown down the sideline on a post route to Cam Mills. They did that twice.
And we're just getting ready for the kickoff now. But impressive play by Durham. They've clearly done their homework and they've really improved coming into this game. I mean, they're coming into this game with a 3-5 record.
Yep.
which isn't, that impressive for a playoff team.
It really isn't, but we had a chat with their coach. They've responded really well, as you've said. He's really impressed with the way he said it was a tale of 2 quarters, and I agree with him. His first quarter was all SGS. Looks like it was going to be a nice and easy win, like it usually is for Bristol when they're not playing against UE. And, they just completely stole the momentum.
I mean,
I was like, the PRiDE are ahead, but you never would have guessed it from the attitude from the sidelines.
100%. I think, obviously we saw some big plays from PRiDE there, and then a few penalties brought them back, and Durham just executed and capitalised on that. Capitalised on the good field position as well that they gave their offense, and a block punt for a touchdown. That's just really good special teams, and it just highlights the importance that we've been talking about this whole time as well of special teams.
We're going to see if they can keep it up in the second half. I do think the better conditioned team in this game is going to be SGS. I think they're more conditioned to deal with this situation. But it's not a situation that they're used to. It's not a situation that they thought they'd be in.
No, not at all. And Durham, again, only down by 6. They came out of the locker room with quite a bit of energy, a lot of fire. So they're going to be amped up for this now.
Just got to approach this game like it's 0-0. First half's in the books. Oh, and we talked about how starting field position and special teams has been such a big importance in this game. For the first time, really all season, it looks as though the PRiDE are going to be backed up in their own half to start a drive in the second half.
Rare mishandled kick return there by AJ Carr. He's going to be very disappointed with that, especially with the game he's had and the season he's had. It's unlikely to see that from him again.
Everybody makes mistakes. So the PRiDE, if they're going to score a touchdown on this drive, they're going to have to go 86 yards.
Looks like a miscommunication there from the offensive line, but nonetheless, they come out. Trey right formation.
AJ's going to catch the bubble screen. He's going to take it up for a first down, depending on where the spot is. Yeah, it's going to be a first down, 11-yard gain.
We do have a PRiDE player down on the play, though.
Looks like he's going to stand up in his own accord. Looks like he's going to be okay, but he's going to come off, limping on the ankle.
Yeah, it doesn't look like anything major.
Callum Hewitt, the offensive lineman.
First and 10 now for the PRiDE. Same formation.
Pretty much the same play to Carr that time. He's going to find a seam. And he's going to take it out the middle of the field. He's going to take it out as a flag.
But what a way to come out firing there from AJ Carr. He mishandled the kick return. And, he's just proven, not proven, but reinforced the fact that he is a great football player and he can make plays, and he's definitely made up for that.
Being a great football player is about how you respond when the chips are down and things aren't going your way.
Yeah, a lot of players would let that get to them. They'd be upset. They'd have their head down. But, he's just caught 2 consecutive bubble screens and just ran them both with so much confidence.
It's a shame that the second one isn't going to count for anything on the illegal block in the back. Another penalty which really didn't have that much to do with the play, which is going to cost them. Like, they really need to cut this out. If the PRiDE are going to be victorious today, they can't expect to win next week and get away with doing stuff like that.
No, not at all. And we saw a lot of, flags, in their game against UE. It's just these unnecessary penalties that they just keep racking up. And
I think that's by far the PRiDE's biggest weakness.
Oh,
it's something which infuriates me as a former player, because I don't think there's anything worse than making a big play and then one of your teammates basically takes it away by doing something stupid. I understand mistakes happen, like you don't mean to hold usually. When you're doing something that's got nothing to do with the play.
Again, it's coming back to that football awareness, that situational awareness, being aware of where you're on the field and what your responsibility is, and how badly do you need that block. I think in that case you didn't really need it.
Football awareness, like you said. A long way to go for a first down. I'm going to stick with that Screenplay, Cam Mills has had a very good game today. He's going to make it second and very manageable. Good 10-yard gain there.
Looks like Bristol are attacking these flats now.
I think you got to get the ball in Cam Mills' hands. Like we said before, maybe it's a good time to go with one of those post-corner plays, steal the momentum right back.
I'd be anticipating a big play here.
No, they're going to stick with the screens. But they've been working so far as a fumble.
Durham feel like they recovered that one.
Well, either way, it's a fantastic play by Durham. We're going to see what the officials call.
And that's,
They had a bet.
that's Francesco home again. That's a name we keep calling out here.
Oh, AJ's down. That does not look good.
Okay, his helmet's off. Head coach Danny Ketch is calming down his sideline in respect.
He's a classy head coach, and I do respect him.
Oh, he's a very good
Do
head
know.
coach as well.
I think he is too. All right, calm down as a player on the field injured.
Such a shame to see him down as well. Such a key player for the Pride, and he's had such a good game as well, as he always does.
You got to hope that it's a knock, nothing serious, and he's going to be okay to continue in this game, because if he can't, then that's a huge part of his offense that's going to be taken away. A huge part of the special teams as well, of course. Kick return game.
Oh, 100%. But
I was like, that's a big part of your playbook that Anthony Fitzpatrick is going to be missing.
his helmet was off, so I was worried it would have been a head injury, but the physio does seem to be attending to his left ankle.
Yeah. That was my initial thought as well. I hope it's not a head or neck injury. It looks like it's going to be ankle,
And he's gonna be
which
collapsed
is good news, but whether or not he can continue in this ball game is what's going to be up for AJ and the paramedics to decide.
off. I think that's going to be unlikely, seeing the way he's
It's,
been carried
yeah,
off.
that doesn't look good if you can't put any weight on it.
So that's a huge blow to this Pride offense and their Pride special teams. How do you think they're going to bounce back from this?
It's got to be next man up mentality. That's what it's got to be, okay? Look, that's your best player. You haven't built your entire offense around him. You got the same playbook. You just need somebody else to come in and fill that position. Cam Mills has been having a very good game. You just got to kind of, you got to have somebody else in there that's going to fill in for AJ.
100%. And this Pride roster is indeed stacked with athletes and great football players.
Certainly is. I think the depth is one of the strongest things about this team. And a ball up, short gain now.
Nowhere to go for Dylan Willis. As he's wrapped up pretty quickly.
I'm sure Coach Fitz is on the sideline now thinking about what we can do. There he is in the huddle. Getting his offensive around him. He's like, okay, our best player's down. Our statistically the best player, I should say, is down. This is what we're going to do. No need to panic, all right?
And it's going to give an opportunity as well for these other players to really shine through and show what they've got and show what they've been working so hard for all this time. Because I think, how many times did you train a week at Pride? Is it 3? You have 3?
When I was there, it was 4.
Okay.
But I think it is still 4 from what I've heard from the players.
Looks like Durham going to go for another run.
Tackle on Miles Butts. Look, this is going to bring up third down. It's going to bring up third down and around 3. So this is a huge play right here, because if Durham convert, they're in scoring position. And as we know, a score ties it. An extra point will take the lead. And they will have erased the 21-point deficit if they can get a touchdown on this drive.
What are you anticipating on this next play? A pass or another run?
Honestly, I think it's 4-down territory, so even if they don't get it, I think they're going to go for it on the next one. I would say probably one of those bubble screen plays or an RPO. He's going to hand it off, and he's going to easily get it.
He's still on his feet.
I mean, fair enough. I was thinking 4-down territory, they might try and air it out. It's going to be a flag. It's going to be after the play, so the first down is going to stand regardless.
We'll just wait and see who that flag is against.
Both teams seem to react, so it's going to be interesting to see who it's against.
Yeah, and that's where I guess maturity comes into it. You know, reacting after the play to anything that happens, it can cost you.
Yeah, there's been plays I've seen from the PRiDE this season where they just had the, reacting after the play, which is completely unnecessary. Accepts his celebration. I believe that's going to be against Lewis Marston.
Yeah, that's an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty.
It's going to be his first of the day. It'll be an ejection if he gets another one.
And an ejection means he will be out of the game.
Well, that's going to make it considerably easier for Durham to score right here. And as we know, a score on this drive is going to put the PRiDE in unfamiliar territory. But these are the kind of games you dream about when you're a kid.
Oh, 100%. Looks like we've got some man coverage out here.
Close games that are going to come down to the wire. If Durham score here, I'm going to be very interested to see how Lou Benzie puts this team on his shoulders and leads the team down the field. Because I haven't seen Benzie in a situation where he's been under any kind of pressure, really. We've had all the games not against Yui where it's been an easy win. I think he can just drop back in the pocket, throw a few passes, get some nice stats. And then there's the games against Yui, which nobody expected us to win.
No,
so I'm going to be interested to see if he can put his team on his shoulders, throw the ball, air it out, and then play under the pressure.
Yeah, definitely. As you said, it's going to be very interesting to see how this young quarterback, really responds when the going gets tough. Again, yeah, when you're PRiDE, you're winning blowouts every week unless you play Yui, and then you're on the receiving end of one. So
down to the 1 yard line. I think that's going to be a first down. It's going to make it 1st and goal.
That is going to be first down now.
4 cracks at it from the 2 yard line. You got to fancy the chances of getting this.
Oh, 100%, 100%. This run game seems to be working well now. This offense is clicking. They're firing on all cylinders. No, that's good. I think his knee was down, so that's going to bring up 3rd and 1.
3rd and inches.
Yeah.
It's going to be less than a yard. That would be a good time for that quarterback sneak, which we were talking about from Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Not going to do that. They're going to go from the shotgun and hand it off by the looks of it.
No, he's going to
keep it, and he's going to get into the end zone.
Very acrobatic.
And now we have it. We have a tied ball game. The amount of noise that the Durham sidelines are making, you never would have guessed if you didn't know any better that this game was in Bristol.
That's Isaac Newland again with another touchdown. But this Durham sideline are very fired up, and the energy seems to be quite low on the Bristol sideline.
What does that say to you? That says to me that PRiDE expected to be winning this game by a lot of points, and Durham didn't think they would be.
Yeah, they seem to be a bit flat. Again, this is where the mentality comes into it.
It makes a huge difference. If you've never played sports before, you won't understand how much momentum means.
And as a defense, you do need your sideline to be loud, especially when, the other team are just, speaking out their cadence and stuff like that. Anything to throw them off, any support you can get, you really need it. But right now, they seem to be too flat.
Got the extra point. That's going to give them the lead. It's going to be 28-27 in favor of the Durham Saints. So now, as we spoke about before, the PRiDE, the chips are down well and truly. Their best receiver is out. They've got to march down the field and get a touchdown to take back the lead. They haven't trailed to any team other than the UB Bullets all season. They haven't been in this type of game for a long time. In fact, I don't think there's any players on this team that have ever been in this situation for the PRiDE. Maybe they have been for the BAFA teams. But I don't think the PRiDE have been in a game like this where they've been under pressure in many years.
No, they haven't. This is where we're going to see character shine through. How much grit and determination do you have to see this ball game out? You're down. You didn't expect to be down. You probably underestimate this team coming into it. But, all credit due to Durham. They've come out and really, really put a ball game on.
There's a quote. I watched NFL films a lot when I was a kid. I don't know if you did. Steve Sable, the executive producer, he always used to put a quote in these tight games. He used to say, great players aren't always great. They're just great when they have to be.
100%, and that's what we're seeing here. Durham with their unbalanced kickoff team. They've got more players on their right-hand side. So we'll see where this kick goes.
To the right side, unsurprisingly. A new return man in there. That's going to be Jake Cobham, I believe. He's going to take it past the 40-yard line. So decent starting field position again. Not exactly what they were used to in the first quarter and the first half.
No.
So Benzie's going to have to lead this team 59 yards down the field, depending on the spot.
Easy tackle there by
58 yards down the field.
Gabe Bretherton. Hope I'm saying that right. On the tackle there, big 99. PRiDE coming out a bit more energy now.
And the ball after Obi makes a good play there to avoid a tackle for a loss. He's going to take it back to around the line of scrimmage. Going to bring up 2nd down and 10.
Looks like PRiDE 74.
Oh, and now Jeremy Benny looks like he might be down. That'll be a big loss to them as well because he's been a playmaker all season.
Yeah, he's down. He's going to need some medical attention.
All right. An injury is never good. But I guess when you think about the PRiDE, they've got so many running backs on their roster that can fill that gap.
Oh, yeah, the PRiDE have a huge stable of running backs.
They're still going to be okay. But I really hope Jeremy Benny is such an explosive player, such a strong player, dynamic. You got to really, he's walking off the field. Okay, I think he'll be okay. He might one of those where he needs to walk it off. Runs out of the way of the paramedic.
Yeah, he don't want to risk. He don't want to risk coming out of this game.
He doesn't want to risk it saying no, you can't go back in.
Is that something you've done before? Just avoiding the paramedic, just so you can carry on?
No, I'm not saying.
I have.
I was going to say I can't remember, but that might be. Probably. Flashing, he's going to add that out to Cam Mills, and he's got it. What a great throwing catch. The same play, he scored 3 touchdowns, all on the same play.
I mean, it's that same route again. That post route, it's wide open for him. You know, that's 3 touchdowns now. You know, as Durham, you've got to make changes to your defensive backs because you can't afford, like, with the game that you're playing right now, you're playing such a good game, but that post route just seems to be open all the time.
I tell you what, it might have been open, but if you've ever been in a pressure situation in sports like that, that is a tough throw to make, and I will give Lou Benzie all the credit in the world for making that pass.
Oh, 100%.
He's got it.
Nice.
Jake Cobham with a 2-point conversion. Same play which they usually do, the back shoulder fade, but to the other side.
That was a crisp route there. That was
Certainly
a crisp route.
was. Good catch as well. Good throw, come to think of it. So if you had any doubts about how Lou Benzie was going to respond under pressure, then there's your answer.
I mean, there we go. There we have
Came
it.
in clutch.
Just drove down the field very quickly there.
Hey, Pete Jones is on the sideline. The Aztecs coach, I hope he was watching that.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely going to be scouting for this game.
He proved that he's perfectly capable of delivering under pressure there.
Speaking for myself, if I were Durham, I would definitely switch to a cover 3 right now. You can't afford for that middle to be wide open like that. I don't know where the safety
Thing
was
is
again.
that if you switch to a cover 3, they're down now. Okay, they're down by 7. You switch to a cover 3, you're going to leave a lot of the flats open. So they're going to kill you not by a big play. They're going to kill you death by 1,000 paper cuts if you give them that much room in the flats.
But those outside passes are the hardest ones to make, though. That, you know, they're the hardest ones to defend against as well. But they're hard throws to make.
It depends where the ball's spotted on the hash marks.
And
Throw to the field side or over the boundary side, you should be able to complete them. Decent return there.
That's Dylan Willis again.
If the PRiDE defense can make a stand here, you got to think, PRiDE get the ball back. And the momentum's heavily on their side.
Yeah, definitely. They're up a score again. If they get another score here, that'll give them some breathing room, and hopefully some of that energy will come back as well. See the sideline a bit more fired up now.
As they should be after that drive. Score is 35-28 for those of you just joining us. Durham took a 28-27 lead. The PRiDE responded with a big touchdown to Cam Mills and a 2-point conversion. Cam Mills 3 touchdowns on the day.
All of them coming from that post route as well.
Exactly the same play. It's been killing them each time. Like you said, I do think Durham are going to switch to a cover 3 because they can't afford to allow another big play like that. So I think next time the PRiDE get the ball, they're probably going to be going with that quick tempo offense. 5 or 6 yards every play, running the ball a lot more rather than trying to get the kill shot every time.
Yeah, 100%. I do want to see that post corner out we've been talking about, though, from Cam Mills.
I would as well. I think cover 3 might take that entirely out of the equation.
Well, it depends where the corner is and if he bites.
Yeah. If they go man-to-man, then you got to take it at least once.
Oh, yeah, 100%, especially with that matchup there. I don't think there's a defensive back out there that can match up man-for-man with Cam Mills that we've seen so far.
It's been by far the best game of the season so far. Statistically, he hasn't been as good as you might think. But just going on that drive, well.
It was a big tackle for loss, but it looks like after the play, the ball came out.
And there's the energy on that sideline coming back for the PRiDE. Unfortunately, a Durham player is down injured.
Looks like one of the receivers is down.
If we can get a look at the number, we'll get a name for you. It's a shame. Like, football's a physical, tough game. You're going to get injuries, and it's a shame. But at least we've got some good paramedics on the sideline who are going to take care of you.
Looks like Durham have their own physio as well. That's always going to help.
Always does.
Does seem to be a leg injury as well.
It's going to give both teams a little chance to recharge, though.
And that's important in a game like this. We've seen a lot of high tempo, and then, the way Durham can switch it up as well. But look, there's that energy. There's the energy on the PRiDE sideline there. These boys are hungry.
So they are. They had a lot of doubters early on. When Durham snatched the lead, I think a lot of people probably thought out back home, yeah, that's it, they're done.
Because it's a rare position for PRiDE to be in when they're down like this. And, they've got a team scoring on them that they didn't expect.
Yep. I could be wrong here, but I think the last time that the PRiDE were in a situation like this was probably when they played against either Cologne or France back in 2018. Because they were really tough, tightly contested games. Last season, I don't think they had any trouble with any of the games they played. I think they just walked it to the championship. No. Chris Synergy, who's the defensive line coach, he did say last year when he was a player, they were playing against Brunel. And that ended up being a bit closer than they would have liked. But I don't think they were under this much pressure in that game.
No, I think Brunel scored 2 defensive touchdowns in that game. I don't think their offense actually scored, but they got 2 defensive touchdowns. It ended up being a close game. It was definitely a battle of the defenses. But PRiDE came out on top.
Certainly did, and they lifted the trophy at the end of the season. That's number 33 who was down. Have you got a name for him?
That's Ollie Wood there. He does seem to be in a bit of discomfort.
An ankle or a leg or knee injury by the looks of it.
I think it was a knee injury. That's what I saw the physio attending.
I hope it's nothing serious like an ACL or an MCL, but I think that they're the worst kind of injuries because it's nobody's fault.
No, that's it.
It's just a freak accident which happens.
Durham hurried out their huddle there.
Uncharacteristically from them. Offside. They got him on the fake snap.
And that's what they wanted to do. That's exactly what they wanted.
Yep. Well, it's going to make it a much more manageable third down. From 3rd and 9 to about 3rd and 4. So that opens up the playbook. You can do a lot more now.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It looked like the quarterback was looking for a free play there, but if the quarterback's under threat, then the refs will blow it dead.
First time they've done that all game, so it's a good situation to call it in.
And that just shows how this Durham team can improvise, adapt, and overcome in tough situations.
Like you talked about earlier, it's one of those situations where you just got to have a good football IQ. You got to stay focused and disciplined.
Yeah, and that's where it comes down to, who your coaches are, what relationship do the players have with them, do they listen, and how much you can teach them in the short time you've got with them at university.
I think they just caught them. It happens in the NFL as well. It happens in college football all the time, where you just catch them off guard. Oh, we should have had that one. That's one he wishes he could have had back.
That would have been a first down.
It would have been a first down. And now they're faced with a difficult decision to make.
4th and 5. You going for it?
I think you have to in this situation. You know, worst case scenario, you turn the ball over on downs. PRiDE get the ball at the 7-yard line, which is going off their average starting field position is a lot further back than usual. So you might as well take a chance. So what else can you do, really? A field goal kicker in this country is probably not going to make a field goal from there. You can't. There's no point in punting.
No, again, it's the weakness in the special teams. Trips right.
Best bets to go with the offense. Now would have been a good time for a false snap. And he's got that one, the same play to the other side. There is a flag. We're going to see if this is coming back or not. Gutsy call going with the same play twice.
That's Ali Arkasoy now. Dropping the catch on the last play, but making up for it on this one and getting the first down.
It's against the defense. It's first down for Durham. They're certainly making it interesting. They're making it a lot more uncomfortable from the PRiDE than they would like.
But another flag on the PRiDE defense.
I haven't seen the PRiDE defense struggle this much, as obviously the UE games are an outlier. I haven't seen the PRiDE defense struggle this much all season. And you know, going off the scout, going off the film that I watched on Durham, I didn't think that they were going to be that big of an issue.
No, but
they proved me wrong, and they probably proved the PRiDE defense wrong as well.
Definitely a physical offense as well.
Good tackle that time by PJ.
Looked like a little bit of afters there, but nothing too major that they're going to pull.
Nothing too major. Refs are just going to let them play with it.
That was the big tight end Eden Palmer with the block. Somebody who the head coach of Durham Saints said was it was a presence, and he definitely is a presence there. He looks bigger than the tackle.
I think that's because he is.
Oh yeah,
This is a huge guy. He walks past us when we were downstairs getting a few interviews. This is, you can tell he's a football player just by looking at him.
Yeah, he meets the eye test.
Certainly does. Good block on PJ Hudson from him that time. He's going to go into the end zone. Well defended.
Good patient play from the corner there.
That was a ball. That looks like it could have gone one of three ways. It looks like it could have been an interception. It looks as though the receiver might have been able to snag it like Randy Moss underneath him. Or it looks like it might have been a bat down. Ended up being the bat down.
Yep, and like I said, that's a play as a corner where you've got a lot of time to think and you have got a lot of time to overthink. So that was a good play there.
Christopher Ballion on the deflection.
Durham taking their time again with the incomplete pass.
Gonna draw back to pass. He's got a receiver open. He's got a tight end. He's gonna take it into the red zone. Something which I'm surprised that neither of us has mentioned so far about the PRiDE defense. Maybe one of the reasons why they're struggling. I think their best player is probably Fermain. And he's not playing today. He got suspended in the UE game. I think maybe that's had a big difference because he's the team's leading tackler. He's probably the smartest safety on the team. Probably the most athletic. Probably the best form tackler that I've seen in the entire league.
Yeah.
Not including the UE players who have played NCAA Division 1 and 2. I mean, that's made a huge difference to this PRiDE defense.
Oh, 100%. Having a free safety that's athletic enough and strong enough to come down and make those big plays, make those big tackles, as well as reading the pass, being able to play that. It's a diverse ball player. And, you know, when you're missing a guy like that from the team, it could definitely have an impact. But like you said earlier, it's next man up mentality.
It has to be, but sometimes you just can't replace a player who's that good. It's a very tall order to get. So going back to my playing days with the PRiDE, we played against the French national team on that field behind us, and we were playing them for the second time. We beat them in France the first time. That's the game that we all talk about. We played them on February 18th, 2017. Our secondary at the time was probably our strongest unit. We had Cam Birkinshaw playing safety, and Eddie Onamade, who plays for Birmingham Lions, and Antonio and Nathan. Antonio and Nathan were suspended for that game. And in the game, the matchup prior to that against France, we held them to 7 points. In the rematch, we allowed 28. And missing our 2 starting TBs made a huge difference. PJ Hudson
But nonetheless,
making a huge play in the
this PRiDE
backfield there.
defense are stepping up.
They certainly are.
That's a huge play now.
If they can stop them on this set of downs, through a long drive like this, then that should really put the momentum heavily in their favor.
And that's going to make it really hard for the Durham Saints to come back. They need a big play now. I think third and 18.
Huge play or a penalty. So if it were me, I would try and air it out deep and hope that either you complete the pass, that would be the best possible situation, or alternatively a DB makes a PI foul or a holding foul.
He's going to go for the pass.
That's what they're going to do, and it's going to be incomplete. Out of reach for the tight end, if it's possible to overthrow him.
I don't think it would be, no. Fourth down now. They do have an opportunity to put a few points on the board with a field goal kick, but their offensive unit does seem to be staying out.
So if they decided to go for a field goal here, it would be, it's about 40 yards for a field goal.
Not many kickers in this country that can make that.
Definitely not automatic. It's surprising when you say that, because back about 10, 15 years ago, the other nation is described as we're a nation of kickers. Because obviously we got a big, obviously association football, soccer is a big deal. We're going to go into the end zone.
That would have been
almost an Odell Beckham style interception right there.
That would have been one for the gram. I think there might be a lucky snap of the ball in his hand. That one would have been for the gram.
There was a little bit of shoving there as well. Nothing which would justify a pass interference penalty. So the PRiDE are going to take over on downs. Well fought.
But it's interesting what you say about kickers. I mean, a lot of the guys that get scholarships are indeed kickers.
Yeah, that's right.
I've got
I got asked if I was a kicker when I was in the UK. No, don't ask me to do it either.
Obviously, you got guys like Jordan Nuyez of the Utah Utes. Just won a Pac-12 championship last year.
Going to hand the ball off to, I believe that was Lamar Virgo. Yeah, there you go. Let's go, Lamar, on the sideline.
Thanks for the confirmation there.
Yeah.
Let's see what he can do now. It's his time.
Back in the 80s when Channel 4 started airing American football for the first time, one of the announcers that we had, I think it was Mick Luckhurst, he was a kicker in the NFL for the Falcons, and he was from the UK. So it goes back a long way, saying we're in a reputation we've got as a nation of kickers.
Oh, we've got some
Got
after
a
this
flag
as well.
there.
It was after the play. But yeah, you see the rise of, programs like One-on-One Kicking Academy. Just to give a shout out to Brad and Aaron there. Obviously, Aaron just fresh off his national championship win with the Manchester Titans. They're producing some really good talent in terms of kicking, and they're getting guys scholarships. They're getting guys out there. And to have that opportunity to go out there and play college football, to live that lifestyle as a college athlete is just, it's not something that many guys get.
No, certainly not. And when the guys do get it, oftentimes they don't follow through with it because of how hard it is.
Yeah, especially for, skill, but even linemen, you're behind maybe 15 years on guys that have been playing at a high level, putting pads when they were 5 years old.
I mean, it's tough, isn't it? Because they play full contact football from a young age. We're only allowed to start playing full contact football at age 14, and even then, correct me if I'm wrong if they've changed this, but it was the case when I was playing, you're only allowed to play 5-a-side.
It's still 5-a-side,
Still 5-a-side. So other countries in Europe, they're playing 8 and 9-a-side. It makes a big difference, especially if you're a lineman.
Yeah, and even now, I mean, when I started playing under-19s football, it was 11-a-side, and that was the last season they played of 11-a-side. I think, they had some funny rules where the playoffs would be 11-a-side, but apart from that, it was 7-a-side or 9-a-side, and now it's 9-a-side, and then the lower division is 7-a-side. that comes from player numbers, but it gets to a point where player development is crucial. And when these guys move up to university, obviously they've got that experience, which is great, but that 11-a-side football experience is crucial.
It makes all the difference. It really does. That's why I'm glad when I was 16, I came to Bristol and I played for PRiDE. That was all 11-a-side. I'm going to go into the fourth quarter in case you're wondering what the switching ends was all about. Score is 35-28 in favour of the PRiDE. PRiDE will have the ball when we return, which should be in a few short moments.
PRiDE hoping to carry on that momentum.
They're in unfamiliar territory right here because they're going to have to go a long way to score. I think this is probably the longest field that they had all day. Going to have the ball on the 19-yard line by the looks of it, the spot. 81 yards to the end zone. We're going to see if Durham are going to change the defense up and go with a free high safety look, cover 3. Pre-snap, it doesn't seem as though that's the case.
No, it looks like they're sticking with man coverage.
It might not be in their best interest, but...
No, but credit to the defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
You trust your guys to go out there and ball out and do the job properly. And I think that's what they're looking for here.
Yeah, it could be that, or it could be they don't practice enough zone coverage to have faith in them to play a cover 3. They're going to go with a post route. Great catch, great throw.
There it is, wide open.
Right in the breadbasket.
If you're going to play man coverage on that, you can't have outside leverage because you just leave those deep routes up wide open. All he's got to do is take one step and he's beating you.
That was Harry Buckland on the reception. In the regular season, from what I saw up until the UE game, I don't know if he had any catches against UE. He only had 1 reception for 11 yards, so that is the very definition of next man up mentality. And he's going to get another catch there, double his season total. And he's going to take that for a big first down the sideline. And so 2 passing plays that is. And they're right into familiar territory.
And again, man coverage again on that. The corner had inside leverage that time, but he hesitated. The quarterback pump faked and he just froze, allowing the blocker to come across and just pick him up.
Great job by Benzie for not throwing that immediately. Having some patience. Great job from the offensive line for giving him enough time. They're going to go to the left side this time to Dom Donahue, who's going to pick up a first down. And just like that, they're in the red zone. So after a couple of minutes ago, me saying, oh, they've got a long way to go this time. They're going to have to go 81 yards. They're in unfamiliar territory. Now they're right back in scoring position.
And if you look at how, I think they've got Durham have got their quarterback in at corner.
Oh, yeah.
But if you look at how these corners are lined up, they are angled to the outside. So they've got their eyes only on the receiver. I think you should line up square. Have an inside leverage. Keep your eyes on the receiver.
Because if you line up like that, then you can run right. You can run a stretch play.
I think that's how these post plays have been open all the time.
Right.
The corner's hips are angled towards the sideline. And after he takes a couple of steps laterally as well. He's not opening his hips up in any way. So all the receivers got to do is take one step.
That's interesting analysis, because I don't know why you'd want to teach your defenders that. Because it leaves you so vulnerable to inside routes, not just posts as well. You get square ins and slants.
It's not a technique I've seen taught anywhere. I think it's just a bad habit from the corner that he's got to learn quickly and learn fast in this game.
I think if you don't, then you just got to look at the film after this game. Win or lose, you got to look at the film at this game. It's like, yeah, we got burned against a really good team now. We could have won this game. It was there for the taking, but we lost because of these big plays from Cam Mills. And the way he did that was because the DBs were tilted, leverage inside at a 45-degree angle.
It'll be interesting to see on those pass plays, especially on those 3 touchdowns, if that is indeed how the DB was lined up.
That's when replay had come in handy. Unfortunately, we don't have that technology at the moment. A little bit behind the Americans.
Yeah, don't worry, you guys can still rewind in the stream and watch these plays back and just let us know.
Yeah, of course we can. Can't tell you right now, though, folks. Just gonna have to DM one of us.
Isaac Newland is still in at cornerback, so he's playing corner and quarterback.
I guess he has experience playing. He has experience playing a few different positions, but I didn't think cornerback was one of them going off the film. Maybe put your best athletes in there.
But again,
So
they
you go
are.
toe-to-toe in a race. Oh, he's going to get the call. He's going to make it 1st and goal by the looks of it.
And that's Isaac
Yep.
Newland there on the
They're
tackle.
going to have 4 cracks to put this game 2 scores out of reach from the 2-yard line. So you'd think old school power football down the A gap.
Yeah, 100%. Come rushing out.
You got 4 cracks out. You should be getting that.
You got to stay.
Lamar Virgo in there. And they're not going to get it that time. That's going to back it up to the 5-yard line. So maybe I'm going to backtrack on that previous comment because now it's 5 yards out.
That's a
not automatic.
Huge play there from
Durham was saying that Lamar fumbled the ball. I think he was down.
I mean, another huge play there from Francesco Home coming off the edge to make a big tackle. Doesn't look like the referees are going to award the turnover.
Doesn't look like it. I will give the referees this. I think after that bad call in the first half, I think they've made some very tough calls, and I think they've made the right move on the majority of them.
Yeah, and again, we've got no live action replay for the refs.
Yeah.
That's something that they have in the NFL and they have in college.
Yeah.
And
It's a tough job.
oh, 100%.
I'm not saying that I'm going to go easy on them when they make a bad call, because it's their job to do that. But I think they've done a good job of officiating today, rather than that call in the first quarter. Oh, it's going to be a catch for a touchdown. I thought that might have knocked the ball loose to start with.
He's got some great hands there.
Exceptional job of hanging on to the catch.
He took a big hit in the back there. He hung onto the ball.
That's the Polish tight end, Adrian.
And that's going to put Bristol north of 40 points. Now 41-28 in favour of PRiDE.
I'd send Lochran in and just kick the 1 point here. He's having that 14-point advantage makes a huge difference over 13.
Does look like they're going to go for 2 though.
All right, fair enough. Well, I wasn't really looking at number 64, were you?
No, it's an unsportsmanlike penalty after the play. Again, we're talking about another penalty after the play here
Something
against
you
the
can
PRiDE.
easily avoid. Adam Woodward is number 64.
That's going to be a 15-yard
Score
penalty.
is 41-28, pending a 2-point conversion coming up. Same 2-point play again, and he's not going to connect this time, so it's just going to be 41-28.
No, that was some good coverage there.
There's a lot of NFL players, when I watch videos, they say 13 points is like a rain cloud over a parade, because you know they can do it with 2 touchdowns. That's why I would have been more content with just kicking the 1, but 15, I suppose, would have pretty much put it away.
Yeah, that's the thing. And now Durham, they've got to come out firing now. They've got to come out with tempo. The clock's hasn't got much time left. You're away, you're down, and it's a long way home. It's a long way. I think it's a 5.5-hour coach journey back.
If I was making a 5-hour coach journey, I would just win, lose, or draw. Obviously, there's no draws in the playoffs, but you just want to know that you left everything on the field.
You have to play lights out,
Yeah.
absolutely. You
Play
don't,
lights out. You don't want any regrets thinking, oh, if they've just gone a little bit harder on this play, or if I'd have ran to the outside on this play. No, you just want to leave it all on the field, and then the best team wins in the end.
Yeah, exactly. It's a long way home. It's a long time to think about the mistakes you've made and to reflect on them. And so you don't want to be awake for that. You really want to be tired, I'll be honest. You want to be tired and you want to sleep.
I'm sure they will, because they fought a very tough battle today.
As Bristol just organised their kickoff team.
Of course, they had the foul, which has been just put the kickoff a bit further back. That's going to make it a bit easier for Durham to return this. Lochran Wright, he does have a very good leg on him. If there's anyone that can boot this into the end zone from here, it's him. And there you go. There's an example of it. Kicks it back to the 20-yard line. Still going to get a good return. They're going to bring it up to about the... They're going to bring it to the 48-yard line. Assuming the spot is correct.
Robbie Goodall with a good return there. Just not running with that much power behind him. He looked like he was reading a couple of blocks and then running high as well, which is always dangerous for a returner when you've got guys coming at you from multiple directions.
That's something you never want to do, run high. It's all good running high when you got blocks in front of you, but you really need to get your pad level low. Because you think about how fast those guys are coming down.
They've got a long run up.
They certainly do. Majority of the time, they're going to get past the front line as well.
Trips to the right again.
Miller's from the gun. He's going to pass, going to roll out right. Looks like Gavin Lewis had an opportunity for a sack there, but he's going to make some positive yards out of it. More than that, actually. It's sensational balance. He's going to pick up a first down and take it to the 35-yard line. To me, that looks like it was going to be a sure sack from Gavin Lewis, but he couldn't quite wrap him up.
Yeah, it looked like he was looking for that quick out to the flat again, attacking those flats, sending the front two guys deep, just to draw off the defenders and get that quick, easy pass in there. But he, again, this is what we were talking about. This is a guy that can make something out of nothing. He can use his legs. It could really be a threat. It's definitely a dual threat quarterback.
Make things happen off script. That's a sign of a good athlete. Sensational core strength and balance right there.
He's been very acrobatic this game.
Leaving it on the field like we talked about. Miller's about to pass.
There's that same play
A
again.
little bit of a low ball there. I won't blame the receiver too much, although he did get his hands on it, but it's a tough one to bring in.
You're not going to have too many opportunities of that play now. You've done it twice on a row, leaving the receiver wide open. Bristol are going to clock onto that. They are going to adapt.
A team as smart as this will do. You probably get away with that playing against other teams.
Yeah, but this is this is a team where guys are here just for football. This is what they're here for.
Yeah,
they haven't just gone to universities to do a degree and then American football. No, they're here for this. They know the game. They can adapt very well.
I think Durham do a pretty good job of scouting as well.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's a very prestigious university for those of you who don't know. It's going to take a deep ball into the end zone. And it's going to be intercepted. He looked as though the receiver had enough separation. A better throw would have maybe led him into the end zone for a touchdown, but that's a great interception right there. And it's one that they definitely needed.
And that could turn the tide in this game now.
Certainly could do, but don't hold your breath just yet. They're on a 5-yard line. They're not used to starting this far back to their own end zone. They need to get a bit of space. We have seen that this Durham defensive line is capable of getting into the backfield and causing havoc. The safety isn't out of the question from this spot of the field.
And then Durham do get possession if they do manage to get safety here.
They do. So if you're the PRiDE, you got to be very smart about this.
You've got to get the ball off quickly.
Yep. Offensive line needs to do their job big time. See 99 coming in through the B gap there. If they'd have ran that ball up the gut, I think 99 was there. Through the B gap, would have been able to make a play.
Yeah. Big tackle there again from Isaac Newland. The quarterback still playing corner. But this is one of those games where you just got to have your athletes on the field. You've got to have your best guys out there.
Have your athletes on the field, but you got to think about fatigue at some point. He's your most important player on the offensive side of the ball. Do you want to risk him getting fatigue and even worse, potentially getting injured?
It's a tough call to make, but it's the fourth quarter in a quarterfinals game. You've got to just throw the kitchen sink in there.
I think 54 was fortunate and he wasn't lined up very close to the line of scrimmage right there, because otherwise that would have been offside. Gonna pick up a few yards. Gonna make it definitely a manageable third down, third and short.
Yeah, I think Bristol just trying to run the clock down now.
As you should in this situation. You just want to complete the ball inside. You want to run the ball, get tackled in bounds, keep the clock moving.
Putting a lot of pressure on Durham's offense if they do manage to come back
So
out.
yeah, they're saying basically we trust our defense to make the stops. We don't think they're going to get 2 touchdowns out of this. Jake Cobham's going to get the screen to the outside. I don't think... Oh, he's going to fumble the ball. He may have been down. It was very close.
Was his knee down?
It looks as though the officials are going to call it a fumble.
But again, on that play, you see the hesitancy from the corner.
Yeah.
As he sort of, just hesitates again and misses that tackle. like we said, you got to leave it all on the field at this point.
Durham's number 54 pointing in the wrong direction to signal it's a fumble.
Yeah,
Want to turn the other way around, mate.
I'm not going to joke about head injuries.
Head injuries are nothing to be joked about. Everything else is fair game, though.
Yeah. Just testing the waters here. I've had it before where I thought I've tackled the blitz running back, you know, on the 5-yard line. Refs called a touchdown, and I realised I can't see the lines.
Seeing stars instead.
I was seeing something. I don't know.
The light.
Well, I looked up and realised I can't see far at all, and that's not ideal.
Not when you're playing a sport like this. Well, you know, living your life in general, I guess.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. Okay, it looks like that turnover will stand. That's a huge play there for Durham.
Certainly is, because you were in this situation. If they'd have just punted, take time off the clock, it would have made a huge difference. Now they've got best starting field position of the day by far. That includes both teams.
Yeah, 1st and goal.
This is where the PRiDE defense are going to be put to the test.
But how fatigued is Isaac Newland?
Doesn't really matter on that play. Give him a little bit of a rest. Gonna let their other playmaker make a
Dylan Willis
little
again.
2 or 3 yard gain.
It's a short game, but the clock is still running. There's not much urgency from this Durham
Haven't
team.
seen as much from running back in this half as we did in the first half.
No, and that may
Willis.
be down. That may be down to fatigue, but that could also be down to PRiDE's just sort of, you know, going in at half
Defensive
time.
adjustments,
Yeah.
yeah. If there's any coach in BUCS who's going to make those defensive adjustments, it's Ben Harrod.
100%. See a power formation now.
And Newland's going to take it to the outside pylon, and he's got it. There is a flag on the play.
Isaac Newland again with another touchdown, but there is a flag on the play.
If history's anything to go by in this game, it's probably going to be against the PRiDE. That's just going off statistics and average. I didn't actually see what the foul was. It looks like it's coming back, though, from the reaction of the players.
And that's very disappointing. That's very disappointing if you're Durham. The game's there. The game's there for the taking. This is still a football game. It's a 2-score game.
Do you think not going for that 1, going for the 2 instead, do you think that's going to be a big difference in the end?
I do.
If this ends up being a 1-point margin in the victory for Durham.
Listen, it's a long way home. If it's a 1-point margin, I feel so sorry for those guys because they're going to have so much time to
Well,
think.
strictly speaking, if it's a 1-point margin, then Durham would win. Because Bristol's 13
right.
points ahead. 2 touchdowns, 2 extra points.
In which case, if this is a 1-point game, Bristol are going to have quite the film session.
Certainly are. They won't be happy with anything but a win.
Looking like man coverage now.
Heavy blitz. It's going to complete the pass to the outside. It's going to be nowhere near enough.
But he is going to go out of bounds and stop this clock.
I wouldn't be so worried about the clock now, because there is time left in this game. I think you focus here. You just got to forget about the clock. Get this ball in the end zone if you're Durham, because there's more than enough time to get the ball in the end zone, kick it off, start the PRiDE offense, and then you got a shot for a final drive.
That was going to be on my next question. If Durham do score on this drive, do you reckon they go for an onside kick?
No, they got the timeouts, haven't they?
Oh,
There's enough
that's right,
time left.
yeah.
You can't risk giving them a short field and an easy, well, I'll say easy, a far more likely touchdown. And it looks as though he's going to get to about the 1 yard line. 4th down coming up.
It's going to be a
Oh,
big
and he looks like he's hurt.
This is what you didn't want to see. This is what we spoke
No.
about. You know, how much can you throw this guy
think-
in different positions before?
I don't know if I'm right here, but I'm just going to say it's what I think I think he went head first into the turf.
Yeah, I think I saw that as well.
Yeah,
That's
so
not what we wanna
that
see.
might be a. If that's the case, then it's probably a head injury right there. So that's a. It's going to have to get checked out for a concussion at the very least.
Either way, he cannot take the field for this fourth down drive.
I'm not sure who the backup quarterback would be in this situation. You think it would be? You think it'd be Willis?
Well, yeah, he's the one that's had reps at quarterback, and I think
He has, yeah. But
in,
then you take your running back out of the game.
well, in this position, I think you've got to have you know, someone like Matt Wilson,
Whoever's got the most
a
experience.
bit more experienced guy, come in.
He doesn't look too bad, but he's going to have to come off for at least one play, which is huge considering it's 4th and goal from the 1-inch line. You really want to have your best quarterback in there. You know, if they put Willis at quarterback, then you have to put a different running back then in there. That takes away that duo threat.
I think they've got enough athletes. We've seen the guys out there. They've got guys that can replace them, guys that know football, guys that meet the eye test.
It looks as though they're going to have to test him for concussion, obviously, but it looks as though he's going to come back on the next drive. Going to take the snap, and he looks as though he's got a big hole there. He's going to walk in for the touchdown. Flag, though.
We'll just wait for the
Reaction at the Durham sideline.
It's not looking good for them.
It's not looking good, no. Not much celebration going on. Holding.
Yeah.
Oh, that's got to hurt.
And that's going to be a penalty from the spot, from the
It
previous
is
spot
now.
as well.
So now you can't have your main quarterback in there, and you're not going in from the 1-yard line. You got to go from the 11. So now you can't really throw a fade ball into the end zone because you got a quarterback. Oh, he's coming back in.
Okay.
Okay. You can do that after one play.
Yep.
I was going to say I think it might have taken a little bit more time to give him a concussion test.
I'm not going to
okay,
say anything on that. No.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. I'm sure the doctors know what they're doing.
Yep.
With the medical degrees.
That's when you
Or
just
you
gotta
know,
trust your
trading
staff.
for a medical degree at least. See, he's got a receiver open, and I don't think he's got it. He makes the catch, but did he cross the goal line?
No, he did not.
I don't think he did.
Which is something, because that's a large man. If he just stretched out a little bit.
You got to be aware of your surroundings there. Okay, so they teach you to run the ball. So run your route at a certain distance, okay, every single time. But you got to switch it up when you're in certain situations where you need to be in the end zone. It's 4th and goal. You got to hitch that up in the end zone at the goal line rather than short of it. Even if you route, you say, oh, it's a 10-yard route. If you're 11 yards outside of the end zone, hitch it up at 11.
Yeah, your stem's got to be a little bit further on that, and you've got to be aware of where you are. You can see the pylon in your peripherals. All you got to do is catch the ball, turn, stretch out a bit.
'Cause if he caught that on the goal line, that's a touchdown. I don't know if that's something that the Durham coaches would have told him.
Well, it's a very specific thing to coach, isn't it? I think it's something you got to sort of pick up yourself.
Yeah, it's something that I know the PRiDE do. Or they did when I was there, at least. When Mayo was running the offense. And it's something we definitely did in college as well.
And that's the advantage of having multiple practices a week.
Yeah.
You can instill these little things, and you can teach them about these small techniques that make all the difference.
It's not even in goal-to-go situations specifically as well. It's big first down situations as well. Like if it's 3rd and 12, for example, or 4th and 12, you got a 10-yard route, you want to just change it to 12.
Yeah, it's just about adding one extra step.
Yeah.
That's all. Especially when you're in full stride, you can take the least 2 yards in a step.
Yeah, of course you can. It's something you got to practice as well. You got to get the timing right with the quarterback. You got to be both on the same page. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Durham just haven't taught them that, to be honest. But that's what, if you were speaking into if you're in the NFL, that's what they do in that situation.
Yeah, and it looks like Dylan Willis is staying in as a cornerback as well.
Oh, really?
Hey, look.
They're really getting the money's worth out of him, aren't they?
That's a baller right there. That's someone you want on your team. Someone's going to give it their all, regardless of the position they play. Normally you treat quarterbacks like, they're made of glass, but not this guy.
I respect it. You don't often get two-way players anymore.
No, not at all.
You might do when you're playing like 5 and 5, you know, that age group kind of thing. But when you get to 11 on 11, it's very, very rare you get two-way players.
And you see-
Especially, and if you do, usually it's like, you know, a couple of plays here and there. This guy's been playing it the entire second half, more or less.
New corner in as well on this near side.
Number 14.
Yep.
Ooh, Benzie under some pressure. He needs to get rid of the ball.
Ooh.
Almost intercepted. Intercepted in the end zone. That would have been a disaster for the PRiDE.
And he was looking to pick on that new corner. He had his eyes downfield, but the corner had good leverage and really good coverage on that, actually. And that's something I'm looking at now as well.
That's the best thing you can possibly do in this situation. Give him nowhere to throw because, you know, makes it ever more likely that you're going to get a sack. Bastien into punt for the second time today. Not in the ideal situation for a punter.
Robbie Goodall back to return. And
Not a fantastic punt.
It's gone out of bounds around the 25-yard line. Let's see what this ball's
Not very characteristic of him because he usually has some good punts when he's called on. A German kicker from Frankfurt. Services aren't often required, but you can boot it when you need to, but not in that situation.
Okay, yeah, it's going to be spotted around the 27. Matt Wilson in as well, playing both ways as well.
Oh, that's a fumble. That's a live ball. Oh, it bounces right back into his hands. How lucky can you get?
That was, I mean, I've seen a couple of lucky fumble
I
recoveries.
don't even think he knew where the ball was. It just happened to bounce right back into his chest. I was going to say, PRiDE defense swarming the backfield.
Looked like Emmanuel Amodi on a tackle there.
I think you're probably right.
Product of the South London Renegades.
Repping the home team.
Yeah. Played more O-line for us, though. But I think he got bored.
Yeah, wanted to go out there and make some tackles, get his name called on the commentary team.
Not a good throw there by the quarterback. And it's going to bring up third and about 15. Maybe longer. I think that's longer, yeah. Tough situation. I think he's going to have to look deep now.
This is 4-down territory, so my advice here would be pick up a chunk of yardage, make it a manageable 4th down. You don't have to take the Hail Mary shot.
No, not from here. I think you're definitely right. Run the ball a little bit closer.
Look at how much distance they're getting from the DBs are lined up.
Yeah.
You can take a hitch there.
And the DB.
And I think that's what they were going to do to the tight end right there before the ball was whistled dead. False start on the offense. It's going to make it even longer. It's going to make it 5 yards longer, so it's going to be about 3rd and... Third and 24.
Yeah, so we had some movement from the offensive line. Obviously, if anybody on the offensive side moves and they're on the line and they move before the ball snaps, that is a false start.
Football 101 from Professor Danny. That looks like it might have been a false start as well, really, but it's a good catch in the backfield.
Did a good job to reel that in and get a couple of yards after the catch.
Dylan Willis again. So another face with a very...
Yeah, not much urgency from the Durham Saints.
Not much urgency considering they're down 41 to 28.
And this is a big down here now. 4th and about 14. Pride look like they're in a cover 3.
Oh, he's going to take off and running. He's got a lot of space. He might have it. I think he does have it. He's going to take it into the end zone for a touchdown. Referee puts 2 hands in the air, signifying a score.
What a great read there.
That's a fantastic read. I don't know if you've ever played Madden or anybody out there has played Madden, but basically you send 4 verticals deep. If you got enough time to drop back in the pocket, you have a big lane to run through. And he knew that perfectly.
Yeah, as soon as
What a game he's had.
As soon as you see the DBs bail like that, the middle of the field was wide open.
Middle of the field's wide open. You just got to take your chance there. You got a much better chance of picking it up with your legs than you do with your arm.
Did very well to evade the tackles as well and run that in. That's a big score now.
That is huge, because if they make this extra point, that's going to make it a 6-point game. And that's what we talked about before. It's what we talked about ever since they missed that 2-point conversion.
And there it is.
There it is. Big drive coming up for the PRiDE. Probably the biggest drive they've had in probably going back to the days when we played against France.
That's going to bring a score to 41-35 in favor of Bristol PRiDE.
There's enough time left in this, so realistically, this could come down to the last drive of the game. 6 points for a touchdown. For those of you who didn't know, and you get the option of going for 2 or 1. 1, which they've made every single one of, Durham Saints have. Put them a point ahead if they get a touchdown.
And they just need another big defensive stand.
Big defensive stand. What PRiDE needs to do now, they just need to control the clock, pick up a few first downs, keep the chains moving, milk all that's left on the clock, and then just end this game at 41-35. Breathe a huge sigh of relief if they can do that.
They can't afford any penalties at this stage either.
It's a lot to ask going off their history of penalties in bad situations. Oh, there's going to be an onside kick. And PJ Hudson's got it.
Very
Very
close.
risky.
But this is what I was talking about. Do you go for the onside kick and trying to get that recovery?
Look, I think they've got enough timeouts left where they can just kick it deep. They've done a good job of stopping him on the last few drives, where you can realistically, you can stop them and then have enough time left to drive down the field and score. The thing is, though, Durham don't like to throw the ball, they like to run it. When you run the ball, they've got a much bigger chance of getting tackled in the open field. So that keeps the clock moving.
Yeah, and
so maybe the onside kick is the right move.
I don't think they practice that onside kick much as well. I could see that coming from quite a while away. The way he walked up to the ball, the way the kickoff team had no urgency. They didn't disguise it very well. They were all creeping down, anticipating that short kick.
I mean, that's what comes of not practicing as much as these guys. You don't have enough time to practice the little things. How often are you in a game where you need an onside kick, realistically? It's not something that you're going to prioritize. Oh, he's going to take the hand up to the left. He gets a little seam. Picks up close to 5 yards. It's going to be about 4 yards according to the referees. But it's going to be 5 yards, my bad. Timeout, Durham. This is that situation in football where it's late in the game where you need to save your timeouts for this situation. You need to get a 3 and out, 3 timeouts. So the drive ends with a minimum time taken off the clock. So basically, a couple of first downs for the PRiDE is going to put this game away. They are not that far outside of scoring position as well, thanks to recovering the onside kick. So your objective now is not to score, it's just to get a couple of first downs so you can take a knee. In this game, you might need Lou Benzie to throw the ball, and depending on how many yards they need to go. You can tell from his body language he's under a bit of pressure right there.
Yeah. He's feeling it right now.
Might be letting the nerves get to him, but you just got to shake him off.
Again, let's see how this character sort of comes out in this situation. How do you respond?
It's got to be calm and cool.
Durham sideline getting really very loud.
Again, this is a PRiDE home game, for those of you who don't know. Now you might have to throw the ball because the first down is pretty much going to put the game away. So you got two options in this scenario. You can either run the ball, you're more than likely not going to get the first down, and then you got a punt. Or you can put the ball in your quarterback's hands, throw the ball past the sticks, pick up a first down and win the game. But if it's incomplete, then they get to conserve that timeout, and that one timeout can make all the difference, especially with a team that likes to run.
Just thinking, how good is PRiDE's field goal team?
They're not making it from there.
No?
No. He's a decent kicker, is Lachlan Ryan's. I think if you get it to around the 20-yard line, he should be able to make it there, because that's a... You got to think you got to add 18 yards onto where the spot of the ball is. Oh, there's a flag there. Cam Mills, he's going to get the first down.
He's going to go
He's going to take it into the end zone, but it might be coming back. It depends on what the flag is.
I think that was offside defense.
I think it was offside defense, so that would have been a free play anyway.
That's a 4th touchdown there for Cam Mills.
Definitely the MVP of today's game.
Definitely.
Assuming the PRiDE win this. Offside defense, that's a good touchdown. 47-35. Looks like they're just going to keep going for 2. And now you have to breathe a huge sigh of relief if you're the Bristol PRiDE, because that has put this game away. And it's been the first game, obviously, with UE being the outlier all season, where they've had to stress about winning the game late in the 4th.
And again, credit to Durham. They've really stepped up in this game. They've really improved from their regular season performances.
They certainly have. I think they've earned the respect of a lot of teams across the league if they've been watching this game. Benzie about to throw into the end zone, and Cobham's got it in the back corner. That's going to make it 49, a nice multiple of 7, 49-35. And that has pretty much sealed the deal on this one. I think you're going to be seeing some of the backups if the PRiDE get the ball again. A few of the Durham players getting their heads down, but they shouldn't, because obviously you want to come in here, you want to win.
And there's still time on the clock.
They really want it. There is still time on the clock, but I think making it a 2-score game this late in the game.
Hey, regardless, you're wearing that jersey. You're on that
Certainly,
field.
you might as well play.
You've still got a job to do. You can't
play until the whistle goes. Don't worry about anything else.
That's why for me, I don't really like knowing the score that much, especially playing. Well, you know.
I mean, there's a lot of teams that have that philosophy. They just won't tell you the score. They'll just tell you, if you ask them for the score, say just play like it's nothing. That's one philosophy of it. But then there's situations where it's like, right, we're down by 6. We need to drive the ball down and score. You got to get out of bounds because we've got to conserve time. You can't just tell it like it's nothing. You can't play it like it's nothing in those situations.
And that's that situational awareness we're speaking about.
Situational awareness. That's why I think it's important to keep track of the score.
Not a bad return there. Dylan Willis again.
Obviously, if any of these guys end up making it to America, you're going to have that massive scoreboard with the lights on if you ever want to check the score.
And you can't miss that.
No, you can't miss that. You've also got the announcer shouting it out every single time there's a score change. Or a 2-minute warning, half-time.
Doesn't look like Durham are going to use the 2-minute warning to adjust anything. Of course, it does give them a little bit more time if they need it.
A little bit more time. They've still got that one timeout left, if it makes any difference. Gavin Lewis almost gets the sack, but the quarterback evades the pressure. That's going to be enough for a first down. Gets out of bounds and stops the clock. Another great move.
Yeah, they had trips right again. Look for that quick out, just to get that quick pass out and then get out of bounds. Again, this is where, you know, that play's failed a couple of times now, and he's just made something out of nothing again. There's a good run by the running back to read where the open space was and just get in it, make that catch and get those yards and then get out of bounds.
Isaac Newland, definitely the most valuable player on the Durham team. Timeout. Signal by the official. 4th down. Is he signaling 4th down?
No, he was signaling no timeouts remaining.
No timeouts remaining, okay. I was going to say that was clearly a first down.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the hand signal. Yeah. Is that the hand signal for no timeouts remaining and 4th down?
A fist is supposed to be 4th.
Yeah, a fist is 4th.
Yeah.
I'd do the old...
The T is obviously the timeout, for those of you who are wondering. And now they're signaling a timeout by PRiDE. You have to say back-to-back timeouts? Oh, that's...
I think, yeah. I think you are. Because I think one of them was a Durham timeout, maybe? Or was it?
Yeah, maybe that's a BUCS rule. But you're not supposed to take a timeout and then a timeout after that
Oh, you should
in
talk
the
to
NFL.
You
so.
should talk to my friend Johnny Weeks from the Tamworth Phoenix. He loves calling timeouts. He waits the offense to line up.
Yeah,
Waits them to do their cadence, calls the timeout.
right.
Next play, waits for the cadence.
Good
calls
thing
another
they've
timeout.
good thing they've only got 3 of them then.
Yeah.
I mean, you're allowed to have a play in between it. Is if you call a timeout and then you let the clock run down to 0 and to 1 and then call another timeout. You're supposed to get a play off, but maybe there's a BUCS rule saying that you're allowed to do that. Nevertheless, it doesn't matter too much.
This is a huge drive for Durham, though.
Yep, certainly is. So they've got just about enough time left where if they score a touchdown really quick, they can make it interesting.
And I know I've been saying all day that this is a huge drive for Durham, but this really is now. This is...
Oh, this is make or break. Basically, it's very, very unlikely that they're going to win this game anyway with the situation. After 2 minutes, 1 timeout left. If they can get a touchdown, a deep touchdown, a Hail Mary type like that, then they've still got a realistic chance because they can get the onside kick.
They can. That was a great defensive play from the corner there.
Yeah.
Just missed the pick, but it's enough to keep Durham back.
If they're going to win this game, if you're wondering, what they need to do is they need to score very quickly. It doesn't necessarily have to be a Hail Mary type throw. You just got to complete the ball, get out of bounds, take as little time off the clock as possible. And then what you need to do, you need to get that onside kick. And there's no point in trying to make it look flashy or disguise it. You might as well just line up there and say, yeah, we're going for the onside kick. Get everybody ready in the best situation for it. And then you got to score again.
Because on any kick, as soon as the ball goes further than 10 yards, it's a live ball and anyone can get it.
Yep. I miss the old style onside kick, which they don't do anymore. It's where you chip it into the air.
Oh, and just let you guys go up for it.
You basically chip it into the air, and then everybody runs 10 yards, and you jump up. Try and catch it like it's Hail Mary. They don't do that anymore.
No, those were a lot more exciting.
I think they were as well. I think there was a much better chance that the return team was going to get it as well. So Newlands is going to roll out. He's going to make a pass, and that definitely hit the ground.
Yeah, that's
I don't know why
incomplete.
number 6 is...
He's trying it.
Unless it's pass interference. There's definitely a case of pass interference there.
Yeah, the ball was in the air. The DB wasn't looking for the ball, and he was making contact with the receiver.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't throw the flag sooner, to be honest. I thought they would have been all over that. Maybe the hands are getting cold and they couldn't quite find it.
Oh, yeah, no, refs love calling defensive pass interference, trust me.
I think when it's obvious, you might as well do your job. Yeah, good call, ref. I'll give you that.
But it's only going to be a 15-yard penalty. And again, this is what I was talking about earlier. If you're getting beat deep, you know, with these rules, you might as well bring him down for PI.
That's why I don't really like the rule. I don't like that it's only 15 yards or half the distance to the goal, depending on where you are. I think he should be at the spot of the foul because realistically, you're taking that opportunity away from them.
I would agree, but you play wide receiver. I play defensive back. So for me, it's a great rule. But from an offensive standpoint,
well, you're obviously being very biased, aren't you? If you just look at it from a neutral perspective, you take. Well, yeah, you can cause. Oh, just notice AJ Carr's on the sideline with crutches, so it's not going to bode well. It's looking like the PRiDE are going to win this. There's a very good chance that they will. So they're going to be without their best return man and their leading receiver. Because that doesn't look like a short-term injury to me.
No, it doesn't. It's never a good sign. Trips right again.
It's going to get out of bounds. Gets a couple of yards there. But, yeah, back to the point. I do think that PI should be spot of the foul call. I think the NFL's definitely got it right there.
10 years ago, I would have agreed. But I made
when you were playing receiver 10 years ago, of course, yeah.
I made the switch now, so... Hey, look, look. Corner is a hard position to. You've got to do everything that the receiver does backwards and guess where he's going to be or read it. You don't know what route he's running. You don't know where he's going. You don't know what the play is. The receiver knows all this.
It's probably the most difficult position to play from a physical standpoint.
Yeah, this
Obviously,
is what
mentally, quarterback and middle linebacker are
yeah,
tougher to play. But yeah, just athletically.
I mean, corner,
yeah.
you know, what is it? Cover 2, where you stay where you are. Cover 3, you
Yeah.
just get a bit deeper.
Yeah.
Cover 4,
Cover
you do the
1,
same.
man-to-man's tough.
Cover 1 that's where it is. You just follow the guy, and that's
Cover
where it gets
0,
really difficult.
yeah. Cover 0 is worse.
Cover 0 is the worst.
Yeah. I enjoyed it as a receiver though, because I just felt like it's me versus you.
Yeah, that's it. And how many times out of 10 is the DB going to read you correctly?
It depends how good the DB is and how good the receiver is. But most of the time, if they're evenly matched, then the receiver should be winning about 7 out of 10.
And there's that big body tight end just trying to scrape a few extra yards there, Eden Palmer.
Ref is going to signal that the clock is running because he was tackled out of bounds sideways.
It didn't look like. I think it was stopped because of no forward progress.
No forward progress. Okay.
He didn't try and get out of bounds, which is interesting.
He really should have been. You got to be aware of your situation.
He's open again.
And intercepted. That was not the right read to make with those defenders right there.
He
No,
was-
it's going to be incomplete. He drops the interception.
Oh.
Miles Butt did.
So he was a second earlier. That throw would have been great, but he just hesitated a little bit. Try to let that route develop, but
It was a very small window there, and it's going to take a very talented passer to make that throw. Which, as good as he's been today, as an athlete with his legs, I still don't think that he's that fantastic of a passer.
well, we'll see now what he can do.
Certainly will. He can put a good spiral in the air.
Empty backfield. They're going for it all.
Might as well send everybody deep. He's got a receiver there. He's a very nice pass. Going to take it down to the 1 yard line. He's going to be tackled in bounds. So the clock is still going to run as soon as the ball is spotted.
As soon as those chains move.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they've hurried over. They know the play.
Good job of finding the wide open guy there. I assume there's going to be a timeout for the PRiDE.
Yep, it is indeed.
So I don't know why Durham, if even had any timeouts left, would want to take a timeout there, because you got the defense on the toes. You got them in the corner right where you want them.
Yeah, that's a good timeout call there. Just to disrupt that momentum a
Yeah,
bit.
definitely the right call for them. That's why it's also important. You got to conserve your timeouts. You can't waste it on something like if somebody's lined up in the wrong position. You know, they're not getting the call right, because these timeouts late in the game, they become so valuable.
Yeah, and that's where your team discipline comes into it. If you have to call a timeout because the guy's not lined up properly.
Yeah, that's the worst. I would.
Yeah,
I would almost rather just take the penalty sometimes, because you just don't know how valuable those timeouts are going to be late in the game, especially if it's close. I guess if it's a blowout like PRiDE are used to, then, you know, it's whatever. You might as well call the timeouts. But if it's very close like this,
yeah, you've got to hang on to them for as long as you can.
You
can't
certainly
be
do,
wasting
yeah.
them on anything silly.
or there's like Durham where you're going to kick it off and then you need the 3 timeouts to stop the drive on a 3 and out, so you got enough time left to go down the field and score.
Or again, if you're Johnny Weeks and you just call timeouts for fun.
Well, you only get 3 of them, so you got to be careful with it.
Try telling him that.
You know, it was a good tackle by Gavin Lewis, was in there. Miles Butt as well.
Yeah, he had nowhere to go. He was completely swarmed there.
That is the last thing Durham wanted, because they've lost yards.
Yeah, that's
Clock
silly.
still moves.
Or is it smart by Bristol?
Bit of both. And he's going to go to the outside this time. It looks like Gavin Lewis. Oh, he makes a pylon jump.
Yep, and he's made it.
What a fantastically athletic play. I was about ready to call that a Gavin Lewis tackle, because he made a perfect read. Got straight to his hip in a position where I could just power him back, but no, he makes a great jump over the pylon. What a good athlete.
I mean, look, that's tremendous, isn't it? There's not much more you can ask from a quarterback who's given it all this game on both sides of the ball. How often do you say that, especially at this level?
Gotta give it to him, definitely. He's put his team on his shoulders. He's played his heart out on both sides of the ball, which is something you rarely see in 11-man football. He's going to be sore in the morning after this. Not going to get the 2-point conversion. That's going to make the score 49-41. First game I've seen in BUCS this season where both teams have scored 40 points.
I don't know why they didn't go for the field goal there.
I don't know why they wouldn't either, because it's not going to...
Yeah.
You know, you go for the field goal, that makes it 49-42. I guess what they were trying to think of was maybe go for the 2 and then touchdown and an extra point wins it.
I'd rather
But
have...
now they're down 8.
Yeah, because look,
I mean,
you get that extra point here. It's a 1-score game, 7-point game.
I think
and
there's
then
too
you've
much.
got-
Yeah.
You've got the choice to send it into overtime, which probably they wouldn't want to do, or go for the 2 in the last second. I'd rather go for the 2 in the last second.
I'd rather go for the 2 in the last second as well. I think they've stopped doing that. It's the way things used to be every single time. And now they've started relying on analytics.
Yeah.
So saying the analytics suggest that you do this and you got a better chance of winning the game. I think sometimes you just got to look at it from the human perspective. Look at your personnel. Look at how the momentum of the game's going, because the analytics don't take that into account. So now the PRiDE are under a little bit more pressure than they would like. It's going to be an onside kick.
5 men on the
So-
front line for PRiDE.
It's going to be an onside kick. 5 men on the front line, as you would expect.
Again, Durham,
If they recover this, then they're in a very good position to...
I think they're going right. They've got their most guys there.
Could be a scissor kick. No, they're going left. I was thinking of him going for the old Cruyff turn.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. That's a good recovery there.
That's pretty much going to put the game away. Benzie's going to come in and take a couple of kneel downs. And PRiDE are going to escape. One of their toughest challenges of the year. So it looks like it looks in all likelihood that it's going to be PRiDE versus Nottingham next week. Or next round, I should say. What do you make of that? How do you think that's going to turn out?
That's going to be the real test. I mean, here we've seen a huge test for the PRiDE team. Yeah, there he is taking a knee.
Taking a knee. PRiDE's going to come out of this victorious, but I'll tell you what, Durham shouldn't hang their head in shame.
No, not at all.
They proved a lot of people wrong that they couldn't hang in there, including me. I really thought this was going to be
I mean, if I'd have told you
20 point.
a few hours
plus
ago
win.
that this was going to be a 90-point game, you wouldn't have thought that it would have been this close.
You certainly wouldn't have been. 90 points, you might think, yeah, 60-30 to PRiDE.
But look, if this game's anything to go from, Nottingham Gold didn't have this much of a problem against Durham. It's going to be a real test for these Bristol guys. They're really going to have to step up. They're really going to have to do their homework, and they've only got a week to prepare, which and to rest and recover as well.
It's going to be in Nottingham, I take it, because they got the better record.
Yeah, I believe
Yeah.
it is, yeah.
That's a tough place to play. Like I said before, I don't know if you remember, the first ever time that the PRiDE lost to an English team was against Nottingham at Nottingham. And apparently there was some bad calls in that game. There were a few things which didn't go our way, which should have done. I wasn't playing in that game. I was watching it. I watched the highlights, rather. And it's not one that is remembered very fondly by the PRiDE. But yeah, there's a lot of... It's a very tough place to play.
I mean, yeah, and again, Nottingham are one of those teams that recruits for football. They've got 2 teams. They've got some great star athletes like the likes of Jonathan Mbenefo, guys that can play multiple positions and really, you know, really put the team on their back. And as we see here, the Durham coach is just hugging all their players for what a great performance that was.
Yeah, they gave it all. They had a good season.
That was probably one of their best performances. I'm going to call it that was their best performance all year as well.
Absolutely, from what I've seen. Going off their other performances, I really didn't think it was going to be anywhere near as close, honestly. Obviously, they beat Sterling by 50-plus points, 52-0, I believe it was.
Yeah.
This was a much more impressive game, I thought, even though they lost in the end.
Yeah, Sterling being the team that gave,
Yeah.
handed them their third win, sending them into the playoffs with a
It's-
walkover win.
It's surreal to think about, because if you take away the UE games, which I've said before, and I'm sure everybody's sick of hearing it, going to say they're outliers. 0 points allowed in all of the games.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every single game has been a shutout, and to allow against a team which doesn't have a bunch of American all-stars on it, for them to give up 41 points. I know obviously they're missing Furman, their best tackler, the best overall player on defense, in my opinion. Statistically, he definitely is anyway. But to allow 41,
Again, and
it's
how
like
much?
Durham should be proud of that.
But if you're Bristol, those 41 points, that's something you've really got to address in the film study.
You certainly do.
sessions.
I
This
don't,
is especially with the penalties. I think the penalties handed them a lot of yards. It handed them plenty of opportunities. It's definitely something PRiDE would need to improve on. It's not like they should know. They have to improve on that if they're going to beat Nottingham.
Micah Barrett wasn't suited up for the second. We saw him limping off in the second half. Micah Barrett is going to be a huge loss if he's not able to play, because he's the best player on defense. Ben Herod said when I interviewed him that he's the best defensive player he's ever coached.
Oh, wow,
And
that's
he's
quite
coached
something.
Alex Jenkins and Tiggy,
Cadell King. There's
Cadell
a
King,
whole
NFL
plethora.
and CFL players right there.
Yeah.
XFL as well. So that goes to show how much Herod thinks of Micah Barrett. They really need him suited up, especially when AJ is limping off. I'd give you a very, very good odds for AJ playing in a week's time. He's going to need some miracle cream.
Oh yeah. It's going to be hard to give him out that game.
It will be, yeah.
How are you feeling about this matchup with Nottingham next week then?
You know, I'm not playing, so I'm not really nervous about it. I think our guys and our coaches, knowing them, they'll be well enough prepared for it. And I think this game will have been a wake-up call for them. Our defense isn't invincible. Furman will be back. They'll have a week to get an offensive game plan together without AJ in it. They know that they've got players that can step up and make big plays when you need him to. Cam Mills, obviously, he hasn't had that many opportunities all season. For somebody as talented as he is, coming into the UE game, because that's where I've got the stats for, 4 receptions, 75 yards, and a touchdown. Not exactly prolific numbers, are they? I think he probably doubled that today. Got 4 touchdowns just today, so he's made his stat line way more impressive. I think you got the talent, you got the depth to beat this team.
It's not just that as well. It's the amount of yards he got. I mean, especially
Yeah.
yards after the catch. As soon as he caught it, he was gone, and no one was
Yeah,
catching him.
earlier on I was thinking that maybe it's just that post play that they can't stop, and he's just converting on that post play, and that's not going to work against Nottingham. It's not going to work against UE. But then he did so well getting those screens. He did so well at getting the yards after the catch, like you spoke about. He's definitely my MVP for today's game. I don't know about you.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I'm going to have to give it to him today.
I think Lou played exceptionally well as well. I think this is probably the best game I've ever seen him play. I don't think he threw an interception. He must have had about 5 touchdowns at least.
Yep, I think you're right there. I didn't see any interceptions.
Statistically, at least, this is definitely the best game I've seen from Lou Benzie in the passing game.
And that's going to mean a lot to him. Like moving into this game. Again, we keep talking about the strength of this Nottingham team. But he's really shown up. He's really turned up.
Yeah.
And he's had a great performance today, especially for a young QB. And just seeing him develop over this season has been great. You know, it's hard to keep that mindset when you're beating teams 79-0, 80-0, and then you're getting blown up by UE, who have far more experienced players. It's hard to have that contrast and then come into a real competitive game like this and just stay focused and stay executing and stay doing your job. And he's done that fantastically.
He certainly has. You look at Lou from week 1 to now, there's such a huge improvement. I spoke to Anthony Fitzpatrick, and he said he thinks that him playing for the Aztecs last season, it kind of killed his confidence a little bit because he wasn't the starting guy and he didn't get that many opportunities. There's a lot more to it than that, but I won't go into detail about it. So he thinks he kind of came into this season and he wasn't all that confident in his abilities, but he has to have that confidence back now after that performance and his performance the past couple of weeks.
Oh, 100%. Even in that game against UE, I mean, putting up 22 points against a team that hasn't, or I think they conceded, their defense hasn't conceded all season.
It's basically an NCAA All-Star team, isn't it?
Well, I'm not sure. I think UE have only 2 or 3 Americans on their defense, but they can rotate extra guys in. There's no rules on that. But regardless, that's the team that again recruits specifically for football. UE, they focus on 3 sports. You know, where a lot of their funding goes to in terms of scholarships and stuff like that. And American football is one of them. So having that, playing against a level of opposition like that is going to be great for his development, especially scoring 22 points against him. That's going to do wonders for his confidence. And then moving into this Nottingham Gold game, I'm excited to see what we can do. I'm really excited.
So am I as well. I'm disappointed that it's not going to be here because I would have very much liked to have commentated on that one as well.
Definitely.
But you know, you got to go on the road. That's another challenge. Like I said before, it's a tough place to play. It's Nottingham. There's a lot of history there between the Pride and the Gold.
And again, it's a long way to go. It's a long.
It is a
coast
long
journey.
way to go. It's not as long as Durham.
No.
Is it? It is a bit of a trek. It's a good 3 or 4 hours. It's probably going to be one where they're going to leave early morning, knowing this team.
Or the night before.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, we only ever did that when we were playing in Europe when I played for the Pride.
Oh yeah, and you're sleeping on
But
like
yeah.
crash mats in sports halls. But yeah.
All right, we're going to wrap this up right now. I want to thank you all for tuning in and listening. The final score, in case you missed it, was 49-41 in favour of the Bristol Pride. They're going to go on to face Nottingham Gold in a week's time. I want to thank you all for listening.
Thank you.
Good game next week.